All right, you guys, I'm here and I got Tamala with me. We want to know her thoughts about this case. And also, I've been talking to Willie D, and Willie D said he got some new video footage that we will be looking at on this channel, on this live stream. Willie D has new video footage of Carmelo Anthony. What goes on with the murking, with the unaliving, the arrest, the video of him crying. So Tamala, I'm hearing some rapping. I guess you got some candy wrapper.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gigi. I was moving this stuff out of the way. Okay.
Hmm. All right. So
I'm,
you want me to put you on mute real quick?
I'm.
Okay. Hey, how you doing, Bessie? Yeah, get on in here, y'all. Get on in here. Hit that link. And before I play the video, I definitely want to hear Tamala case because we've all seen the videos. But I said, Tamala, we have yet to hear your thoughts about this, and what are your thoughts about the video? So, Tamala, if you what are your thoughts about that video? Do you think it was edited? Do you think it's fair? A lot of people were saying, well, you know what? The video don't show us him getting jumped, so it's a lie.
Gigi, this is another stage for that they trying to stage. This is another stage that no, Gigi, they got the real video, and the real video shows. Why would Jeff Metcalf stay on the point, you guys? Okay, and don't let them flip the narrative on you, because let me tell you something. Jeff Metcalf in that interview with Sarah Fields, he said, yeah, we got the video, but we're going to keep it, but we're going to let Frisco ISD use the video, have the video for that moment, and they are allowed to show it to people. But you have to sign to see the video. People, when he said them idiots, damn idiots pretty much fumbled the ball, he knew what he was talking about, because he let somebody, a kid saw that, and one of them supporters saw that, okay? And he was mad because he said they fumbled the ball. This video that they showing you guys is bull crap. Photoshop to the all the way to the door, baby. No. It's a whole lot of corruption in that town. I saw, like I was telling y'all before, I saw a movie, I think it was Walking Tall or whatever, where that man had that stick and he had to go in that corrupt town and change it upside down because there was too much corruption. Everybody got to keep their boots on the ground with this one, because I'm telling you, these people are changing the script every time. Eddie is the one that sold him out, you guys. Please stay focused. He sold them out. Now they're out here trying to act like, oh, they like black folks and all that. No, come on now. The daddy got the money that he been doing the campaign on, buying stuff like never before. That's what the thing is. I try to tell people, stay on the point. They do not really want us to have anything. They don't want, every time if we get a big house that is 650,000, they look like, oh, where she get that job at? Like we can't have anything. That's what it's all about, the job, the houses, the cars, the money. That's what it's all about. If I can strip that from them, I can start with this case. Then we can keep on stripping it from them. No, we're not getting ready to do that, guys. They sit around and talk about Carmelo Anthony, mama, then daddy did this and that with the money. What is Jeff Metcalf doing? Like the old saying go, follow the money, you'll follow the truth and the lies that goes with it. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. They are using that boy as a pawn. Do you hear me? They said they gave the money back to some of the supporters on that that give, see, and go. But I would like to know who supported him, and did you get your return money? Because I know a few people behind the lines saying they never got their money. Yes.
I gotta ask you something real quick. Did you see this shit? Okay. Did y'all see this real quick? I'm gonna come back. Look at this, Tamala. They are saying it's a GoFund or the Metcalfs gave out scholarships to a black boy. Did you see this? And
Gigi, this is just a play in our face. And then whoever the parent is, oh, I thank you, Sister Megan Metcalf. Girl, that is boo. Why wouldn't y'all doing that before this incident? Ask yourself. See, that's what it goes to show you what it is. It's bull crap. It's a lot of bull crap here. They trying to act like they like black folks and all that. Gigi, no, they don't. They never gave a scholarship to anybody before this. They never gave any black person anything. And then he said what he said about Karmelo Anthony. Oh, yeah, y'all think he's the privilege. He's this, he's that. Yeah, he's the wonder boy. You had a lot to say about this young man, but then you go get a scholarship to this man here. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Anybody else can buy it all day long, but I'm not buying. See, that's why I say a lot of our black community can be bought and sold at the lowest price and some at the highest price. And that's selling your soul to the devil. Come on now. They playing with you like puppets.
Kamala, I got another interruption, honey. I got another interruption. Look at this, y'all. Is this Eddie Tamala? Is this
Let me
Eddie?
see, Gigi. I got to bring it up.
God. Is this Eddie, y'all? Press 7 if this is Eddie.
It looked like him, Gigi.
It says Eddie deserved to be in prison for lying under earth. He was clearly friends with Karmelo. And don't Eddie look black?
Yes.
These are the pictures of Eddie and Karmelo together, honey.
Gigi, he wasn't a friend. Let's get that understood, ladies and gentlemen. He wasn't a friend to Karmelo. If you remember what they said in the beginning, he was a friend of the girlfriend, okay? So a friend of the girlfriend is not really your friend, but he's a friend of me, okay? Friend of me's like the ones was with Shaquilla Robinson. They wasn't a friend, they was a friend of me's.
But they taking pictures together. You don't take pictures if you gotta know anybody, Tamala. And y'all,
Gigi,
let's get the likes
you
up,
you are my girlfriend's. Let me just say this. You are my girlfriend's friend, okay? I'm not going to treat you wrong. Just like if you're my brother's old lady, I'm not going to treat you wrong. So we're going to take pictures together. We're going to clown together. We're going to act food together. That doesn't mean we're besties. People do it all the time when they go to club, socialize and go to club with somebody. They taking a picture with them. You know, different things at concerts. You know, people be thinking, oh, that's her bestie. No, that's just somebody she was cool with. He was cool with him. He the one caused him to the 10. He the one called him to the 10, knowing what went down. That's why I don't understand why nobody got the phones. Why nobody got the 10.
They wearing both Nike hoodies. Look at that, Nike and Nike. They both wearing the same thing.
Gigi, if I'm friends with your girl, me and you became acquaintance, okay? That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. He wasn't he wasn't his bestie, because if he was his bestie, he wouldn't have turned on him like a snake. He the one called him underneath that tent. Let's stick to the focus. He the one called him underneath that tent. Why did he call him underneath that tent? He knew what was going down. Gigi.
Well, if he called him under the tent, he should have, when the white boys came up, he should have said something. He should have stood up and said, listen, y'all, I did call him to the tent. You know, I handled this.
Gigi, every day, somebody's trying to take somebody else's place, okay? He may have wanted the boy's girlfriend. I don't know what his MO is for doing it. Maybe he felt like, oh, they think he's high, and he think he high and mighty. So some people think that. You ain't got to have nothing at all. My mother used to say that. For somebody to be jealous of you. It could be the way you carry yourself. And people are going to try to sabotage you every time. Dunk
Well,
you every time.
can y'all please get the likes up? Can y'all please get the likes up? All right. Please get the likes up. Gigi, can you put a video so I can? Yeah, I'll bring the video up in a minute. Y'all get the likes up. We only got 5 likes. You know they don't make no damn sense. Now, Lord Footage, are you there? What do you have to say, Lord Footage?
Yeah. How y'all doing?
Good. How
Hi.
you doing?
I'm good. I just want to kind of explain the video because I look at them and then everybody can make their arguments from there. So what everybody looking at that they think is a fight, it's a fight. But if you look at the video more to the left, when Carmelo's sitting down by those two boys, you will see Austin grab his book bag and look like he pulled the knife up in the air to be like, oh, this what he got, you know. So
Oh,
the action went back towards the right where Carmelo and them was at originally, right? But if you pay attention to the left is Austin. All the way to the far left, you'll see him and Carmelo fighting over there. And he picked Carmelo up and slam him. And so I'm thinking they face to face, right? So
oh
he
my God.
slam him and get him out of the tent and over in the rain. Well, with them being chest to chest like that, that's the reason that knife was halfway open because Carmelo was kind of falling down on the boy and his right hand and sat there and that halfway open knife then caught his chest. And Carmelo couldn't get up good with slipping on them benches and stuff, so it kind of made the cut a little worse. So Carmelo, you see him run to the right towards that crowd to grab his bag, and that's when them boys jump him. The one grab him
Oh
in the
God.
headlock and do a
Oh
couple of
God.
knees to him. Somebody from the back is hitting them, and Carmelo got
Oh
up out of
God.
there and shot up towards the up to the top, looked to the left
Oh.
and shot to the right and started going down towards where he went to the police. All you gotta do is look at it. I'm gonna put
Oh
it on
my
my
God.
page. But where you got that circle, right, and that arrow pointing down, right
Uh-huh.
to the left of that circle, you will see that line and those benches right there. That's Austin.
Absolutely.
Because when Carmelo end up stabbing him on an accident, Carmelo run over there to get his bag. Austin standing there feeling something kind of crazy, but not knowing. Boom, they start jumping on Mello right there. Mello slipped out of there. And if you pay attention, when Mello slipped up out of there, you will see that person grab their chest and bend down a little bit and start going down them benches. And that's Austin going down them steps while Carmelo running to the right. So if you look, they fighting right there, but go back, rewind that. Where they fighting right there, yeah. But Austin to the left of that circle, that line, that black line in that circle right there to the left is Austin. He checking out his chest. That fight is right there. If you rewind it, you will see Austin grab his bag, pull the knife out, and then him and Mello back there fighting, and then Austin slam him to the farther left of that circle right there, and Mello
But
get
Hunter
up and
is the
run
one.
over there to get
Hunter
his
is the
bag,
one
and
that
that's when
grabbed
them
his book
boys
bag.
started jumping on him right there, and that's when y'all see that jumping him. Before that, him and Austin was fighting by themselves.
Hunter
Him and
is the
Austin
one
was
that
fighting
grabbed
by
the book
himself.
bag.
And when he slammed Carmelo to the front of him, Austin up higher, Melo sliding down, and that's how that knife cut him. And that's why that knife is halfway open. It all makes sense, but don't nobody want to hear me. Don't nobody care about what I show on the footage. Everybody on here arguing, saying what they want. But one day, people gonna have to respect what I do and what I show, and gonna have to finally pay me. Because I'm sitting here watching the footage. I'm finna put it on it. Right there, what you seeing, right there, what you got played with, no circles, no nothing. When Austin, when you press pause, Austin to the left right there, move to the left. They
Mm.
right there to the right, jumping on Carmelo right there.
Oh God.
They jumping on Carmelo right
Oh
there.
God. He was
So if you
defending
rewind it
himself.
just a second, you will see Mello and Austin fighting to the left of that white line between them two black bodies right there, them two black shadows, and you see Hunter head up there up on by that tent. Uh, if you go down some, go
Come
down
on,
some
you run.
more, go down some more. Okay,
Hold
press
on, I
play. Let
gotta
me see
do it
where you at.
again.
Let me see where
Um,
you at.
okay,
And we're gonna
video
put all
start.
this to rest. We're gonna put it all to rest.
It's
Boom.
all
You
that.
see
It's
Austin
the
move to the
noise.
left. You seen how he jumped to the left right when you clicked off of it. He got hit in the chest right there with him and Mello over there to the left. And Mello ran to get his bag in that crowd. And that's when them boys started jumping on him. He slipped up out of them and ran out of there. And then you'll see Austin grab his chest and go down the steps towards the left right there. And that's what it is. You got to get the video back and play it from the beginning. When
Hold on.
people think they see the fight, they fighting, but you got to go back about 4, 5, 6 seconds before that, and you will see a white shadow come up by that black body to the left. That's him pulling that knife out of that bag some kind of way. They got to wrestling, and whoever had it in their hand when he slammed him, that's when that halfway open knife cut him. And they trying to say that Mello said he did it. He did. He said he did because he know that knife was halfway open and probably cut him because the boy probably said or something like that and made a funny sound. So when he ran over there, he like, yeah, I did it. That boy didn't know nothing about that boy dying and tried to commit murder. He tried to get up out of there. Austin actually was fighting him and he slammed him. He turned around and slammed him. And that knife being halfway open explains that why it's like that, because he had in his hand and wasn't open. But when he slammed him, Mello went down and that knife caught him.
Oh
That
God.
knife caught him and went through them
Ooh.
clothes real easy, whatever
Oh my
Austin had
God.
on, and cut him.
Oh
You,
my God.
that cut wasn't, I guarantee you, it wasn't left and right. I bet you it was up and down and kind of jagged, kind of looking, because it was, his hand was kind of moving. Guarantee you, when it went in him, it wasn't a how you say it, a horizontal. It was vertical. It was a up and down. How that knife was in Mellow hand, up and down. You can't cut nobody if it was sideways in his hand, because then the point of the blade would be at him. But if you
Ugh.
got it in his hand and your hands is on that person's chest because they slammed you and that knife halfway open and you sliding down, well, guess what? Something gonna get cut. Something gonna
Uh-huh.
get cut.
Some gonna get cut.
And he probably seen all that. He probably seen the blood on the hand, like, damn.
Oh
Shit,
God.
he threw that motherfucking shit. Oh, excuse me. He threw that knife out of his hands like wow, and got the hell headed
Tell me
like that.
this.
Because when he
What
went
did
to
they
grab
throw
his
in the garbage
bag,
can?
boom,
Can
they
you tell me
started
what
jumping on him. That's where
what did
everybody
they
say
put?
he's jumping on. He's jumping on. Boom, he must have stabbed him right there when he pushed him. No, Austin to the left over there and got stabbed and checking out his chest, feeling funny. While everybody started jumping on Mello when Mello went back towards the
But
crowd.
but
Cause
GG,
see,
I
what
believe.
Mello was doing was trying to get back towards his bag,
Can
and
he hear
Austin
you,
kept
Tamala?
pulling him by his hoodie up out of there. Then eventually he
Tamala,
slammed him around. But
Huh?
Mello had that knife in
can
his
he hear
hand, body
you?
and
I
halfway
don't think
open.
so,
All you
GG.
gotta do is look at the
Talk to
video.
him.
I'm gonna play it back so y'all can check it out, and you got the right to
Tamala,
to
talk
uh
to
Yes,
him.
clip it and
but I'm
put
gonna
it
tell
on
you
there,
something.
and you
That
and I'm gonna
video
have it
has been
right there
edited.
where you see
That
he
video
grabbed
has
that
been
bag.
edited. You can
He went
see the
in Mello's
yellow,
bag,
GG.
and the way he
And that
hold his
video
hand
has
in
Talk
been
the
to
air,
him,
you can tell
Tamala.
he pulled something
He
out
can't
of
hear
him.
me. He keep
So
going
with them
on.
saying he fell on the knife or cut himself,
He
it
don't hear
was
you
an
yet.
accident
Yeah.
because him and Mello
I'm
chest to chest
talking to
because
him, GG.
Austin
He don't
slammed
hear
him,
me. I'm not gonna
body
scream.
slammed him.
He can hear me like
That
if he
wrestling
can
move,
quit
pulling him
talking.
to you,
He
and
don't
he
want to quit
turned him
talking. He
around
just
out of the
talking.
tent to slam him out of the tent.
I'm sorry, Lord Floyd. I'm gonna have to cut Lord Floyd off. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, GG, if you look at the yellow, it's been edited. That has been edited, GG. They edit this whole video. I keep on trying to tell you, it ain't nothing but a lot of this is photoshopping. It's photoshopping. The white lady came out when she said what she said. That's how it happened. That boy tripped and fell on Carmelo when he had the knife in his hand.
So what's
Ain't
going on?
nobody,
Why they keep talking about something in the garbage can?
GG, because simple fact is they put a lot of stuff. They had a lot of stuff, GG. It's a whole lot of stuff that's going on behind here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A whole lot of stuff. They putting the stuff that they did in the garbage can. A lot of them getting rid of their phone, all that, Gigi. Come on now. Why them people didn't take them phones? It's a whole lot. That's why I said, we got to keep our boots on the ground for this young man, because a lot of them, they didn't take their phones. A lot of them filmed that on the phones, on their phone. Eddie filmed it on his phone. You can't tell me his ugly tail didn't. A lot of them boys was at Metcalf them house. A lot of them boys hang out at the Metcalfs. Karmelo don't hang out at the Metcalfs. A lot of them are friends, Gigi. They've been friends since day one. They didn't like Karmelo. He had over 20 scholarships. You got to look at it. That's why the daddy kept on saying, oh, they think he's such a good boy. They wanted him to be in a gated community, this and that. Listen to what people are saying. People are speaking the truth.
They were jealous of him?
Yes, they were speaking the truth. That daddy was speaking the truth, yes. Oh, the Cadillac Escalade. You heard what the man said when he got out the window. Oh, now they can get that house and the Cadillac Escalade. Why would y'all be worried about these people? Merchandise, and y'all sitting up here at property, and y'all sitting up here, here's a dead man. A young fella that's no longer here. But y'all worried about, what the Metcalf's gonna get from the Anthonys and a wrongful death suit. Really? Really? Man, I'm telling you, these people are some jokes. They some jokes. They do a whole lot. And a whole lot has been covered up. And people put their real boots on the ground. Go start talking to people in the community. You'll find out what just kind of family the Metcalfs is. Now, I'm going to say this.
Did you see this? Hold on. I got something coming. Look at this. Tamala.
Yes, they all friends. I see it.
What's going on? What's going on here?
Gigi, they all having a family gathering with their friends, the same friends that was on the football field.
But are these the same witnesses?
Yes, they are. Majority of them, yes, they are.
These are the witnesses.
Gigi, you late. Yes. That's why I said what I said. Day one. It's a whole lot. A lot of them boys was friends, Gigi. They were friends with the Metcalf. They did not like Karmelo.
So they wasn't telling the truth? You know they wasn't telling the truth?
Gigi, I know they wasn't telling the truth. I know from day one they wasn't telling the truth. I know all of this is a cover-up. All of this is a bunch of lies. That's why I said about Benjamin Crump. You know this is a case that you need to be on, but you on that other case over there because you feel like you're going to get some money over there. So, I'm just keeping it real, Gigi. All these people are friends. Even the judge is friends with Metcalf. Even the DA is friends with Metcalf. Come on now. It's sad. It's sad. They don't want. That's why I say you got to go back. You got to go back. No matter how you look at it, some people, Caucasian people in this world, European or whatever y'all want to call them people, because they don't look European, but Caucasian people, okay, they can't stand in the sun. That's what they like. They keeping a mess like this. It's a lot of that is team us and team Karmelo, and they don't think that this is right. But at the end of the day, for the ones that do coming from that old KKK stuff, Gigi, come on now. Them are the ones that like to keep this mess going. Keep this mess going. They did not want. Do you understand what type of community that his mama and that mama and daddy was living in? Kayla them was living in a very nice upscale community. How can they afford it? That's what the question is in their mind. I've been following this, Gigi. First thing you look up when you go through some of the comments, because see, I'm the type of person, even when I do reviews, because I'm not even gonna get a hotel, nothing. A restaurant, nothing, if I don't see your reviews. Okay, so I go down, review. First thing they say, oh, how was they able to afford that? What you mean? You feel like a black man cannot afford anything? Black people cannot afford nothing? Then they say at their age, what? They got to be 50 and 60 and 70 years old to really have something? No. That's how uneducated they are. They be sitting trying to act like they're so educated, but they're not. And then they don't like it, to the fact they don't like it. And this is history, and decades after decades, they do not like it because we have something. That's why Mr. Metcalf said what he said. Oh, y'all think he's Wonder Boy, pretty much. Oh, y'all sit there, okay. Now he's watermelon felon. So you mad. You're mad. You were mad because he was going places and your boys wasn't going anywhere really. You knew they really wasn't, because ain't no way they're going to put them on any pro football field and they taking steroids. They test you, baby. High school don't test you, but college and all them other ones test you. They're going to drop your urine, baby. They're going to do your heart particles, all the 9 yards, whatever they got to do. So them boys know. No, Gigi. Karmelo Anthony was fighting for his life. And everybody need to keep fighting for him. Don't let his name be just in the background, because I'm going to keep fighting for him. And if the Lord's will, he get a new trial, I'm going to be there, front and center. I have family members that live in San Antonio and Converse all around there. So I will be there. Because at the end of the day, you got to speak out. You got to speak out, because I want to know why you keep on avoiding the issue. If he was leaving the tent, why would you guys try to keep on being in pursuit? Hunter was the one to grab the book bag, not Austin. Hunter was the one that got the shit started. Excuse me for cussing. He the one. That's why he said, oh, I miss my brother, because, he always was the one that had my back. Oh, yeah, he had your back when you start foolishness. Yes, he had your back. Because he knew somebody else would have knocked your block off. The weakest link. That's why the family didn't want, and that's why the prosecutor, the DA, didn't put him on the stand. What you mean not putting him on the stand? This is another man's life that is at stake. And you wouldn't put the first witness on there, the real witness. And y'all said that, he was screaming and he was trying to help his brother rendering aid. No, he was not. He was not rendering aid. So all the lies they can keep telling, all the lies, all of that, and keep digging a hole for themselves. But let me tell you something: if a Caucasian person can go and be friends with Mr. Metcalf, Jeff Metcalf, and sit and drink some liquor with him, he's gonna tell the whole story. So help him God. That's why they put the gag order on him, because he's nothing but a drunk. And if he would have came out without that gag order, baby, he would have been singing a law line. Do you hear me? And they all would have been cuffed up, because they all need to be cuffed up. They all need to be in jail, Gigi.
All right. Well, hold on. Hold. What?
Now, show Willie D's.
All right. New footage. Y'all, let's get these likes up. We can do better with the likes, y'all.
Some of y'all get that. I mean, it's funny how y'all get that when you want to get it. But then when you don't want to get it, the person who retaliates is everything but a child of God. Very interesting.
Right.
Here's the video.
That's a commercial. That's a commercial, Tamala.
I know.
So that looks like Austin and his twin brother walking. You can see one going through first and then the other right here. So you'll see the tents. You'll see Karmelo coming through right there. That's Karmelo highlighted. And he's walking toward the memorial tent, the Memorial High School tent, where the school that Austin attends. And this is where the stabbing took place. Now pay attention to the left, that tent right there, that yellow tent. Pay attention. You'll see some movement. It's hard to see, but it's a lot of people over there. It's more people than I thought would be over there. It's very, very hard to see what's really going on. But you can see, as you see this is Austin and his buddies walking right now, walking toward the tent. They look very intentional, going toward the tent. Look like, they're looking for trouble. And you see not shortly, like after they get there, it's almost like somebody told them, hey, he over here right now, come over here. And they they had their marching orders to go over there. And as soon as you look closely under the tent, you'll start to see chaos break out. And then you'll see Austin above the tent, look right above the tent. Austin is going to emerge. I mean, not Austin, but Karmelo is going to emerge right above the tent. He'll take off running. See, there's a scuffle right there. You see something going on to the right, and then some more scuffling to the left. Let's go back a little bit. Right there. Right. Look under the tent. Look, see, it's more than one person right there. That's more than two people engaged. You see? Look closely. But again, fam, that's not even the point. The point is, Karmelo was sitting there minding his business, and Austin walked up to him and self-deputized and decided he was going to make him move. Austin had no authority over Karmelo Anthony to make him move. I hear a lot of people saying, well, he told him to move. They told him to move. It wasn't their tent.
Right.
They had no authority over him. They wasn't the boss of him.
Right.
They had no authority over Karmelo.
Exactly.
They told him to move. They told him to move. Hell, as you mean they told him to move? If Karmelo wanted to get a damn pillow and spend the night under the tent, it wasn't nothing they could do about it. Maybe a coach could do something about it. A staff member could do something about it, the police, but not another student who is equal to him. Let them tell it. He's not equal to them. That's why they went over there messing with the boy in the first place. Because they thought he was beneath them. They thought this was going to be another routine, put the black boy in place. Now, here's the thing, family. Do you see all of these people at this track meet? It's people everywhere.
Yes.
And when it went down, look, let's go back. Because it was so blurred, it was hard to tell how many people were really under that tent. But look at that tent now. Look at how empty. Look, you can see the bleachers now. So this goes to show you how many people. This gives you an idea of how many people was actually under that tent when it went down. Look at that. You can't see the bleachers under the tent right now. So that's people under that tent. All of those people under that tent, you mean to tell me ain't nobody got video? Look, if Karmelo was guilty as they say, wouldn't they be putting the video out there? You know they got it. You know those youngsters filmed. Wouldn't they be putting the video out if Karmelo was actually guilty? All this tells me is that Karmelo was innocent. This confirms what I already knew. There ain't no way you got that many kids out there. Drama is happening and they're not filming. Kids film everything, especially drama. As soon as they think it's going to be a fight, they start filming.
Tamala, what are your thoughts? Tamala?
I'm sorry. He's telling the truth, Gigi. That's what I was saying at the beginning. Those kids' phone. Somebody took their phones, girl, and got rid of those phones. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Let me just say this. Eddie was recording that. They were recording that, the ones that were standing to the side. And then there's something I couldn't make out, but I'm gonna try to see if I can get somebody to kind of make out who is that in the yellow, because somebody was in the yellow and they moved, they left. It looked like it could have been a female, but at the end of the day, Gigi, they all filmed that. I'm telling you, that's why the daddy said, I want to keep, he was letting us know, I'm keeping that video for a souvenir. People do that, Gigi. People, when you're evil like that, they want a souvenir. Just like, well, excuse my fist, when people, assault women, they want to keep the underwear, something that belongs to that woman. Come on now. Why would you want to keep a video like that? You sit up there and said in Sarah Fields' interview, the damn idiots fumbled the ball. How did they fumble the ball? If that was the truth, you don't have to fumble the ball. That's what made me realize it was no truth to what the Metcalf them was saying. Sarah Fields went along with it, and she knows she did, because at the end of the day, Gigi, she was somebody, I'm not going to say allegedly, it had to be her, because the interview was with her and him. But whoever was in that didn't get themselves in the camera to get themselves view. See, that's what I thought was strange too, because when you interviewing a person, most of the time the interviewer is in view too, where you could see them having the interview. That person was out of view, and when he got to talking like he was talking, that's when that person started whispering. Y'all stay focused, because I'm telling you, we're going to strike a bomb here. This is one that we're going to get justice to. Yeah, and for. Because at the end of the day, there's no way that next court can say this is not what it is, because it is what it is. It wasn't about no tent. It was about a young, gifted Black prince. That's what it's about. He was gifted. God gave him his gifts. Sometimes we have to realize, sometimes our gifts can be a curse as well. Especially when you living in the world today. That's just like sometimes when people got money, Black African-American men, I'm talking about the ones that ain't stars and rappers and, actresses and stuff, but I'm just talking about normal ones, like in the chat. If you got money and they see it, First thing they do, even if you go in their stove, they want to walk around behind you. But you know you got money for that item. They think everybody is shoplifting.
Let's
Ti
look
just
at
had to Ti just had to put him in place about his wife when she went in the Louis Vuitton store to get a purse for her friend. It's
that.
just ridiculous.
Let's look at
You
the.
can't be black and gifted.
But you know what? I'm not.
I thought that with them releasing the tapes of the Carmelo incident, that would clear things up, and give people a better understanding of what happened. But it seems to me that people are going to see what they want to see anyway. Me
Yep.
personally, I didn't see him getting jumped. I didn't see that, and I can understand why the jury didn't see that. I feel like people who are constantly asking me as a mother to black sons, what would you have done that was your son? My sons would have fought, number one. Number two, if my son would have did what Carmelo did, I, as the mother, would have done as much damage control to save my son as possible. I don't care who I'm using in the process. And let me explain. First of all, I wouldn't have hired no Dominique Alexander.
I was gonna hold my peace.
What are your thoughts about what she's saying?
Gigi, she ain't saying nothing. She ain't saying nothing. That's how our people are. That's how our people are. They can't stick together. That's why
My,
we just idiots.
where my apology at? Where my apology? I want y'all to say, damn, Benny, my bad. Damn, Benny, I'm sorry for this Carmelo shit. Because y'all was in my comments for sun up to sundown on Easter Sunday, trying to call me all type of coons. Y'all was crusading with that cracker public enemy. Had he been profiting off that fucking Carmelo Anthony name?
Yes.
And oohing and wooing y'all, telling y'all what y'all want to hear, pandering to y'all nigga ears. No, because they released all the evidence from the fucking case. He said Carmelo's gonna win his appeal. Now, after that evidence done got released, they released the full 11 minute video, which only like the last, the action doesn't happen until like the 7-minute-ish mark. So the shorter videos you are seeing, that is from the full 11-minute clip, because the 11-minute clip is like long as fuck. They showed the police body cam footage. They showed the 911 call. They showed the murder weapon, which was a whole fucking pocket blade. Not no track, not no hunting tool. It was a fucking blade.
What are your thoughts, girl?
Keep going, Gigi.
They showed Austin.
So unfortunately,
Where my apology at? Where my apology? I want y'all to say, damn.
So unfortunately, my videos about Carmelo Anthony caused quite a stir last week, and many of you have asked what exactly changed my mind. So I'm going to tell you. But first, I just want to say thank you for the incredible outpouring of grace and forgiveness over this whole situation. I truly never meant to hurt anyone, and I have taken every one of those videos down. Anyway, the biggest thing that shifted for me was seeing that if the process isn't fair from the beginning, then the outcome can't be trusted at all. And in this case, there are just too many question marks. No black jurors. Why aren't they releasing the videos? He's tried as an adult and gets 35 years. And I run a small prison ministry here in South Carolina, and that sentence is insanely cruel. I have seen men 20 and 30 years into sentences like that, and it's not right. And I should never have said what I said. I'm not his judge and jury, and there's no excuse for it, and I need to do better. So unfortunately, my videos about Carmelo Anthony caused quite a stir last week, and many of you have asked what exactly changed my mind. So I'm going to tell you. But first, I just want to say thank you for the incredible outpouring of grace and forgiveness over this whole situation. I truly never meant to hurt anyone, and I have taken every one of those videos down. Anyway, the biggest thing that shifted for me was seeing that if the process isn't fair from the beginning, then the outcome can't be trusted at all. And in this case, there are just too many question marks. No black jurors. Why aren't they releasing the videos? He's tried as an adult and gets 35 years. And I run a small prison ministry here in South Carolina, and that sentence is insanely cruel. I have seen men 20 and 30 years into sentences like that, and it's not right. and I should never have said what I said. I'm not his judge and jury, and there's no excuse for it, and I need to do better. So unfortunately, my videos about Carmelo Anthony caused quite
Okay,
a
Gigi, how many times you gonna show it
Many of you
to
have
us?
asked what exactly changed my
You don't want to say keep playing it. Keep playing it.
No, I was talking.
so
I was
unfortunately
talking about
my,
that one that he said that they called him coons and stuff.
Go
But
ahead.
Gigi, I'ma say this. They did that man that you just showed the video. I can't think of what his name is, but they were attacking him and that everybody that is a Metcalf fan or whatever, they puts in the comment little threats and little things, they're supposed to throw people off and get them to stop talking about what they're talking about. But Gigi, he's right. It's too much. It's too much unclosed evidence. It's too much that ain't even been said or done. In this case, why didn't you take the kids' phones? Somebody texts that person and told him, hey, Carmelo's under the tent. Because all of a sudden they come over there. No, he was under that tent before they even came. Somebody texted that. Somebody didn't walk over there. Somebody texted that. They got all that on these kids' phone. And I'm pretty sure if they can get forensic or somebody or the parents can get a private attorney, they can get those records. But see, ain't nobody gonna do ain't nobody really doing too much. And then those kids that told that lie, they got paid off. They got a little bit of coins. You think they didn't? Your real footwork is when you can get in that town and talk to them. Act like you're their friend and talk to them. Because somebody gonna tell you somebody. That's why I always tell my nieces and nephew, somebody knows somebody. So you always make sure you find somebody who knows somebody in every state, in every place you go and visit. That way, when you go and visit next time, you can call that somebody and say, hey, I'm in your city. All right, I'll pull up on you. Yeah, and you'll know somebody. But at the end of the day, somebody in that city, and eventually they're going to talk because in that little town, because let me tell you something, that little town holds a lot of dirty secrets. A lot of secrets is going on in that little town with them same circle of people. Same circle of people. No, Mr. Metcalf and the wife. No. The ex-wife, no. If you look at the video with her standing up, or the interview with her and Hunter, he made her shut up. See, something is wrong with that. That woman was trying to speak out. And she probably was getting ready to speak out and say, I knew my son was a bully. I knew this. It was the dad's fault. I believe it. But Hunter stopped her. Just like that woman, whoever it was, stopped Mr. Metcalf for saying what he had to say. But he had already let the cat out the bag. They gotta pay attention. These folks ain't playing with fair. This young man had over 20 some scholarships. A lot of kids don't even get that type of opportunity to go to any different school because of the person that he is. You think they weren't jealous? It wasn't about no tent. Why do I have to beat you up over a tent that ain't even mine? It don't make sense. It don't make sense. That's not your property. I can sit anywhere. And then where was the coaches? Where was they at? If you got something going on, where was y'all at? That's awful funny. Don't you think that's awful strange?
They were
None
being
of them.
distracted by the other guys. You know that.
But Gigi, I don't care. It's your duty to watch and see what's going on. It was their duty to watch and make sure everybody's safe. You just gonna get distracted? No, I'm not gonna get distracted. I'm gonna stand where I can see whoever talking to me. I'm gonna stand where I can see everything else. So he should be held accountable too. Karmelo Anthony family should be able to file a lawsuit against them coaches for not paying attention, letting people distract them. They need to file a lawsuit against that state, period. Because everybody know what this is. In order for them to get the justice that they want, they got to really shake it up. Like I said in several other cases, they got to shake it up, Gigi. Sometimes you might think, oh, well, I'm going to go after, I would still want to put a charge on the police. But still, you can still do what you got to do. All the judge going to do is see if the case is good and y'all can proceed further. And if the judgment is not in your favor, oh, well, you tried. But you got to do something. And you got to quit telling them people, they got to quit, the Anthony's got to quit listening to these people who keep giving them these bogus lawyers. Because see, that man, Howard, he sold them straight out. He sold that boy straight out to the law. He sold him. That's why he asked no questions, because he was a part of it. And the mama them should call the bar association against him. He shouldn't be a public pretender. He shouldn't be nothing. This is dead wrong. They was jealous of that young prince who was going somewhere, and their kids wasn't going anywhere. They wasn't going nowhere. They want to say, well, oh, Austin was going to such and such and such and such. Well, you believe it, Brett. You believe it. You believe it. Because anywhere else he go, let me just tell you this. If it ain't a prejudice town, baby, he ain't going to be able to pay nobody off like that. Because at the end of the day, if you on them steroids, you won't be playing ball. They let him take steroids and do all that because they not dropping urines. But everybody else gonna drop it. You just seen how they dropped it on what's his name, was worried about what Stephon Diggs had in his hand, the little thing, and then drop his, and he came back, nothing was wrong. Come on now. Want to say the boy using drugs. Come on, that's the first thing they want to say about us. We're druggy, we this, we that. No, we're not. No, we're not. It started with you guys. It ends with you guys. I hate when they put us out there like it, try to make it seem like, oh, were they trying to play the race card? No, you guys are trying to play cover up and then use the race card. Like everybody's attacking the Metcalfs. Ain't nobody attacking the Metcalfs. They striking everybody else, so they won't say nothing. Soon as my Young Miami came out with that song, and soon as she said what she said about Karmelo Anthony, now they trying to strike her about a song. What? People been shoplifting for years. What the hell do her song got to do with that? I am so tired of them attacking us. And yes, it makes me mad, but sometimes I have to leave it to God. But this time, I'm not going to leave it to God, but I'm going to keep speaking. I'm going to leave it to God, excuse me. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to leave it to God, but I'm going to keep speaking out. Because at the end of the day, these people are all wrong. All wrong. Now they trying to say, oh, if she wouldn't have said, got that song, spin that wouldn't have, man, y'all been shoplifting for years. Even when I was younger, sealing them bags around with that saran wrap and all that. Come on now, y'all been doing this for years. And you think it's okay to break the law.
There's consequences. It's consequences for what the Metcalf's doing, how they lying on this boy because they don't like him, because he's going somewhere. His parents got money. That's the first thing they be talking about. Oh, his parents got money. But did you say you bought a brand new truck? You using that boy's name so you can get money off of him? Man, these people are really sick. They sick out here. But God gonna show them something sooner or later. They sick, Gigi. They real sick. They sick. They'll do. You got to be careful with who you fool with, because they'll do anything for money, selling their souls to the devil for money, and they really think that they playing the game. And did you have they ever thought about Satan is the biggest puppet master ever? He been studying you for years. How old are you, Mr. Metcalf? 60, 70, whatever. He been studying you for years. He been studying a lot of black folks, a lot of all of us for years. He know what you do. He know what you like. He know the type of men you like. He gonna send them around to destroy you. He gonna send the money, okay, like they do. Put the money out there because he know you like money. He know you'll do anything for a check, right? So he playing with you. Y'all are puppets in this game. That's why I don't know why we can't stick together. We the only race that cannot stick together. And I am so ashamed. I'm going to say the same thing Willie D say. These Uncle Toms and Sambos need to get out here. Because let me tell you something. Don't come over here when you need help and they attacking you. Do not come over here and ask for justice. Let them help you. That's how I feel, Gigi. I feel like that. Let them help you. You rah-rahing for them. Let them help you. Because at the end of the day, this boy is innocent. And nobody is looking. They tried it. He was 17 when it happened. 17 when it happened. But see, y'all knew it would have stayed down in juvenile court. That's another thing. They knew it would have stayed down there in juvenile court because that young man don't have a record. He never been in any trouble. Never have a history of violence. Like the Metcalf's sons and the father get drunk, want to fight on the mother. The mother need to come forward. But she ain't got to, because eventually it's going to be like Kanika Jenkins' mama. It's going to eat at you so bad, baby. You got to come out and tell the truth. You got to come out and tell the truth. You sold your soul for the money. You got to come out and tell the truth. Oh, now you holler. Oh, they told me this, and oh, now I just want. Now I need help. My daughter. Oh, no, baby. When the money went dry, that's when you came back out and want to tell the truth. You should have started at the beginning. It's gonna be the same way with the Metcalf family. You can't do that. You can't do that. And I hope it eats them to death. What they did to this young man. I do. I hope it eats them to death. I hope it eats Eddie, the one that set him up.
All right, we can't talk too much about death now.
What? I said, oh, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about, I hope it eats them up. Eat them rotten to the core. Just eat them down. Break them down. Because let me tell you something. Eddie set him up. He probably was so jealous of the situation for him and that girl. Because see, you can have people underneath you. That's why people always say 3 is a crowd and 4 is a traffic jam. Because at the end of the day, that third person you got, whether it's a home girl or whatever, you can't have them with you when you got somebody that you really interested in. They don't want to see that. Even that girl gaining money off of him. She putting pictures up of him and her and all that. See, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's a ticket. Everybody's a ticket. Everybody. No. Eddie knew. Eddie had jealousy in him. Just like they had for, God bless her soul, just like they had for Shaquilla Robinson. These people are so jealous today, y'all. Y'all got to be careful out here. They ain't playing. They ain't playing fair. You ain't never seen God's eyes, but you always see the devil. You always can see the devil. Because they going to shed their skin like a snake, baby. You going to see them for what they really are. And Gigi, I just want to thank the chat for being here. But stay tuned, Gigi. It's a whole lot that's going to come out about this old family. It's a whole lot. They know the judge, the prosecutor. They all friends in that friend circle. They all go to the country club together. Yeah. All of them, Gigi. All of them want to be the elite. Okay? That's what they want to be. All right? But they're not. They don't have enough. So that's why they're trying to gain status, Gigi. Mega ain't looking at them right now. The elites ain't looking at them. No, they're not. But they want to be in that circle, Gigi. I'm just being honest with you. It boils down to they want to have that status. But see, they ain't getting it. They ain't getting it. They ain't getting it, Gigi. They ain't getting it.
All right, Tamala. Robbie has entered the chat. How you doing, Mr. Blue? What do you have to say?
I just wanted to say good morning to everyone.
Good
I'm
morning,
checking out the show, and I want to say Happy Father's Day to any fathers that's listening, or anybody who has men in your life that's a husband, father, son. Just want to say Happy Father's Day. And what question in particular did you have?
They are saying a new video footage. I didn't have any questions really, just your input on the whole situation. I know you follow up with this case. Anything that you have seen around that you would like to talk about or discuss? We just want to hear your input.
Yeah, I think that they say if you plan for the worst, you're never disappointed. I just think, like I said, we have to shake out of this stupor that we've been in. And sometimes I've been guilty of myself to be like, man, this has to be the Twilight Zone. It's not even just this incident, it's everything that's going on in the world. So that's how we know that it's something spiritual going on, that there's just demonic activity going on, and people don't have an appetite for righteousness. So it kind of made me think about Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, they said, was breaking the law. And because it was a law, even then they had a police officer come and remove her from the bus. You didn't have somebody who was a self-appointed Karen or Darren. And it was a grotesque law. It was an inhumane law, which brings me to my point that when someone doesn't see you as a human being, right, then they're not going to have any type of empathy towards you. So there was all these efforts made to try to humanize the bully. So to me, the new BLM is Bully Lives Matter. When I hear these coons speak, when you hear these white supremacists speak, what they're basically trying to say is Karmelo needs to obey the common law, but they want to enforce it like he violated a law, like being under the tent, was some type of Jim Crow type law. You know what I mean? And that's really what it boils. That's what it really boils down to, is because if you want to go even back to the civil rights movement, because you know how they try to say things can't be totally based on race. Well, it's about equal exchange for, in exchange for services for our money, sweat equity, but also protection under the law for our money. See, they care more about the flow of money than they do of our humanity. So you better believe that Karmelo's family and any black people who lived in that county, they pay taxes just like everyone else. So to me, the whole argument ends with, was he breaking the law being under that tent? If he wasn't breaking under no law, then all of these coons that you hear babbling, that's just them projecting fear. They're just projecting fear because either it's job security or they don't want to be attacked by the same white bullies that white people are scared of. That's really what it boils down to. That Metcalf family and the kind of people that run around with them, those are the Ku Klux Klan neo-Nazi types that probably intimidate people in the white community. So if you're a white Hispanic, if you're Asian, if you're a midget, if you're East Indian, all them people try to live around all those folks. And if you can't make it up to upper class, then you got to be around poor or core level middle class people. And most of those people will get easily intimidated by people like this that are bullies. And you can tell by the remorse in Karmelo's voice. They tried to twist his words around and make it seem like he was an assailant and that he was confessing. He was showing remorse. He was being very respectful. I don't think he had any clue that that young man was unalive, because that wasn't his intentions to do that. But it just amazes me how you have grown people who will try to dehumanize this young man. And that's why it's an extension to all of us. They considered us 3/5 of a man. So they felt like they didn't have to acknowledge our humanity. And when you hear these old racist tropes resurface about IQ, about ability, about us supposedly being subhuman, that's them projecting their own, fragility for being recessive. But also, more importantly, the only privilege that they have at the base level of being white is the ability to exclude. They're not, being racist doesn't put any money in your pocket, but you have the ability to exclude who can be under this tent, who can live in this neighborhood, who can be a part of, this or that university, who can join this school club or activity. If I can exclude you of the opportunity, then I can later try to gaslight you and talk about statistics. When they've literally, decimated our middle class and excluded us from attending college, excluded us from the middle class. Like Black people per capita have to have a college education to become part of the middle class, where a lot of them are able to be middle class, and they don't even have a college degree or barely a high school education. Not only were they given opportunity, they were propped up with inheritance. They were just, there were two instances in American history where they were just literally given land, and land is the fast track. Real estate is the fast track, to social mobility in this country. So they try to fight to hold on to it as much as they can. And that's why some of them are able to weather storms when there's financial recessions and, economic calamity. And they better buckle up, because that's literally what's happening. Anybody get a chance, Google it. Trump finally admitted what I was worried about. He said, if they don't open the Strait of Hormuz up in the next 4 weeks, it's going to cause an economic domino effect, meaning that it's going to eventually reach our shores a lot sooner, but it's going to reach our shores eventually. And like I say, all in the long run, all this racism is going to do is harm them. So at this point, I say, if they like it, I love it. Trying to get a dopamine fix by ruining the life of one child, you're going to reap what you sow, just like what Pharaoh did when when they had that angel. You say, if you try to curse my firstborn, you're going to put that curse is going to fall back upon you. So, you reap what you sow, and be careful what you wish for others. If you dig one pit, you might as well dig two, because you'll end up falling in it yourself. And I'll land my plane there.
All right. Thank you, Robbie Blue, for joining us. We have Truth Teller. Truth Teller, what would you like to say? Truth Teller, are you there? Truth Teller.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, you know what I was wondering, and I mean we got dialogue here on this one. Why is it everybody in the city, nobody like can report exactly what happened? Why is that? Out of all the witnesses, and court is free, like you could just literally go to court. Why ain't nobody like really walked in and heard exactly what happened? It's almost like we're constantly piecing the story together. This man ain't got found guilty, and we still don't know what happened. Like,
Because you know why? Because if you heard what the judge said, he wasn't letting certain people in. So that's why they couldn't. He wasn't trying to let out of towners in, because he knew out of towners was coming to this case. That's why I said it's not about a tent. It's bigger than a tent, you guys. You got to pay attention. It's bigger than a tent. Okay? It's bigger than a tent. It really is.
But why don't nobody know though? So that's what it still should be. Somebody should know by now. Okay, he's found guilty. So, but why don't we still know?
Because they covering it up. They're covering everything up. That's why they sealed it. That's why they sealed it. Sealed everything about the tape, all that. Come
Oh,
on
so
now.
I heard about they sealed the video, so that's true. They
Yeah.
sealed the video. You can't even watch
So
the
you
video.
can't really, you can't. They try to Photoshop the first video. Okay, that's what they did. Why would you Photoshop? See, a judge need to be. Somebody need to go talk to a judge and say, why would they Photoshop a video that wasn't even the actual video? And why did Frisco ISD drop the ball, as Mr. Metcalf said? Why did they drop the ball? Why did they keep the video and was showing it to their circle of people? Okay. Yeah, they were showing it to their circle of people. But when a black advocate got in there and saw the video and came out, which is Dwayne, came out and said something about it, bang. Metcalf then was mad about that.
That's what that lawyer got, that black guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
When
spearheaded it then. So he's seen what he needed to see. So can he
right. And he
win the
came out and
appeal?
said something about it. He came out and said something about it. Yes, and they didn't like that. And then they showed the video to a child that saw it as well. And I still want to know what child saw that. They're not telling you who the mystery child is that saw the video.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah. Everybody that signed that paper is supposed to be on there. They're only showing you what they want you to see. Y'all got to keep your eyes open. It's bigger than what you think it is. This one right here is big, big. Do you hear me?
Right.
This is no
Right.
joke. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. You got to keep your eye on different people. You got to watch yourself, because you know what? They know a lot of people like to be bought and sold. If you sit around a circle and say, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. Okay, they all get together and plot something. Am I right or wrong?
No,
If
you're
you
right
live,
about that.
if you live a criminal lifestyle, what they do? I'm gonna sit up and till I think of something, and then when I think of, me and my crew get ready to hit this. You feel me? So
Right.
that's what they did. That's what they did. They was looking for a lick, because guess what? It wasn't never about the 10. It's about that black young prince have scholarships and going somewhere in life. Do you see what I'm saying? They could have charged him as a juvenile, but they waited.
They waited till he's 19 and now he's an adult.
Right.
Oh, man.
Right. Why didn't you hit him when he was 18? You didn't. You waited. It all plans out. See, people don't think and use their noggin. God give you a good noggin to think about it.
Nah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
So,
and then, so why some of them saying that he got jumped and some of them saying he ain't got jumped? Like, where's the jump part at? Like, how they even seeing this? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where are they seeing the jump
let me
part?
just say this. Let me just say this. I don't think that man, Karmelo, went there to do no harm. Because see, me and you, since you following me, if me and you, is in a conflict and I want to have a problem, if I got a problem with you, we could have settled this a long time ago. You feel what I'm saying? So he didn't have a problem with you, but you had a problem with him. See, sometimes people got a problem with you and you don't even know. They hating on you and mad at you.
Right.
When you get a chance, I'll chime in.
Okay, and that's the case right there. That's the case right there. Karmelo didn't have a problem with them. They had a problem with him. And the problem with him is, guess what? He live in Frisco, Texas, and that is, if you Google it, Google that neighborhood that his family is in. Google the neighborhood, and you're gonna be like, dang, there it go back, Wall Street, burning down black folks' stuff, taking everything from us. Come on now. They don't want to see you live like that.
They'll sabotage you just off the, if you trying to move into a prominent neighborhood. I see what you're saying.
There's one thing to consider too. When I remember listening to the testimony, and I think they handpicked the witnesses that they wanted to participate in the case because those witnesses were all football players, or primarily the majority of them were. So they had camaraderie with Metcalf. Now, there was a back and forth going on. There was some discussion. They said that's why they were being vague. They said Karmelo and Eddie were talking about sports. And then when they were talking about sports, apparently, what's his name? One of the Metcalf brothers got triggered because Karmelo said, "Man, you guys are ass." He wasn't talking to them. He was talking to Eddie or somebody else because they were probably talking about sports. You know, any young man or any man knows that when you're playing basketball, even a pickup game, sometimes you'll have an exchange of words. So this is where we have our knuckle dragging cavemen friends who want to act like they're this civilized primate all of a sudden, and they've turned America into a trailer park. By their trailer park logic, it's okay for them to have no impulse control just because there's a friendly, back and forth. So once he said that their team was asked, the reason why Metcalf got triggered, because his own coach said, well, I was telling him that we need to improve. Their defense totally sucked. So he already knew that he was on a team that wasn't doing too well. And that's probably why he needed performance enhancements, drugs, and all those other things to feel good. So whether it was roid rage and a combination of good old, white supremacist fragility, that's when he went ahead and was like, well, Karmelo needs to leave. You know what I mean? Or he started to get aggressive with Karmelo. And Carmelo's like, look, man, I'm here talking to somebody. I'm not even talking to you. And, and probably Eddie was probably a little bit jealous about his girlfriend or whatever. So Eddie probably knew more about Karmelo than those other guys. But I think it's just the whole idea, again, I'm offended. I have low impulse control. And so now I'm going to put my hands on you simply because I feel like I'm bigger than you. And like how many people were saying, the wound that Austin had for that blade to go through the sternum, you know how hard it is for you to, I want everybody to touch their sternum. Do you know how much force you would have to use to crack the sternum and to have a blade go through there, to go through the ventricle? Karmelo didn't do that in that little quick video thing. I think if anything, what's his name was Karmelo was sitting down. There was tussling and tuggling, and that's how he got stuck with the blade. Karmelo probably poked a little, but he put his weight down because again they were going to jump Karmelo. That's why Karmelo ran for his life, because if it was a one-on-one, Karmelo wouldn't have ran. It's all of them were talking trash to him. What you mean our team sucks and blah 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 blah. There probably was a back and forth like that. And so from that to be honest with you, I'm a grown man, right? Sometimes when I've gone to Gold's Gym to play basketball, I remember the stuff I would know from high school. When you have one person who's a loudmouth, they usually have backup. I've been jumped before. As a matter of fact, on a basketball court, when I was a teenager, probably a little bit younger than Carmelo's age, right? Fast forward to just even a couple of years ago, I remember I was playing basketball with this one Filipino dude that kept being too aggressive with me. And then I peeped game. The East Atlanta in me kicked in, you know what I mean? But don't get me wrong, I G-checked him, made his eyes blink, and he probably needed to change his diaper. But I noticed, you know what the first thing I said in my mind? Almost everybody there carries knives on their keychain. I'm talking about at Gold's Gym, even on a pickup, and I'm here in Texas. A lot of people carry knives on them. So that's the first thing that I thought in my mind. I said, there's no way me and this guy are going to have a one-on-one. If Mr. Metcalf was all big and bad, the rest of the football team wouldn't have backed him up. They were going to stomp Karmelo out. These white supremacists know it. They recognize a coward when they see one. And unfortunately, 2 children, had to be in this situation, but one child defended themselves. It's not rocket science. You just have these leaps of logic when you're dealing with coon Negroes that are fearful, or white supremacists, like I said, that take 500 milligrams of denial. You will never get the truth out of them. That's why God is going to have to hit them pockets. They're about to have economic turmoil like they have never imagined in their life, and I'm going to pop up popcorn. And they're going to be forced and compelled, like when the plagues hit Egypt, they're going to get attacked economically, north, south, east, and west, to the point that we're going to really test this American grit, and we're going to really test this whole idea of supremacy. And you're going to be begging Black folks to get in the streets and march and advocate for more social programs and, you know what I mean? And progressive thinking, because Trump's about to run all of this into the ground. And I'll land my plane.
Tamala and Truth Teller, what are your thoughts about what Mr. Blue just said?
He's right. He's on the. I think, and my thing, Gigi. He's on the money. The same thing I'm saying. And that's what it's about. It was never about the tent. It was about the wealth. It was about money. That's all it was. It was never about the tent. And they
That-
knew they could set it up. They could set it up easily. Because guess what? Eddie Hunter is the weakest link. Get it started. Hunter said out of his own mouth, if anything ever, he got into his brother always was his more or less right hand man. So everybody know if he jumps the ball, his brother gonna come. So they use Eddie to make the text message or to howl over there to tell him to come, then send a text. Yes, for the Metcalf brothers to come. He's under the tent. Let's get this going. Yeah, that's all it was. Some setup, cold setup.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, it's sad to see it happen that way. I saw Willie D. Willie D. did a great segment with a lawyer that didn't have a dog in the fight, but he was saying the only way Karmelo would have got out of there if he would have just not said nothing when he got arrested and just said, I want to talk to my lawyer. This was self-defense.
But
And now they would have had to prove that it wasn't versus him just admitting to it. Him admitting to it threw the whole thing off because now they're just using, it's like he said it's rare in Texas that a black man can kill a white person and get away with it, period. I mean, off a white person. I ain't gonna say kill. I know it's your lie. Off a white person and then they just get away with it. So this is something that you never seen and ever. But now you got a confession, you got a weapon, you got witnesses, you got, even if they lying, witnesses, you got, that was three things right there that you need. And you
absolutely.
got
But let me
video.
just say this. Let me just jump in here for a minute. The thing is, you have to look at it too. This is a young man who never had no problems with the law, never even been in any trouble. And if you get him and he's scared and he's, trying to get help for himself and everything, he said, yeah, I did it. But that doesn't mean he's saying, I unalive this person. Because I don't believe the young man knew that he had passed. In my heart, I believe Carmelo Anthony never knew that the young fellow was losing his life. Okay, the young man, when he found out what really was going on, he had so much remorse. A 72-year-old, he has so much remorse. He's the only case I've ever seen a person have that much remorse and just cry, cry, cry. And this was no fake and pretend cry. This was real tears, real heart. And then this young boy do not have any trouble, any history of violence or anything, and you give him that much time? No, no, no.
All right.
Mm.
Stevie, Penn, how you doing? What do you have to add to the conversation? What would you like to say?
Well, how you doing? Thank you for having me on the show. I'm glad you guys are keeping this. We all trying to keep this thing going because you already know every time a hot story come out, everybody jump on it, and then they forget about the hot topic. But I think this is a topic that we need to stay on. So I thank you.
Absolutely.
I thank you for covering it because we all on YouTube and everything that's trending, everybody jump on it. But I think this is something that we need to stay on. And
Yes, absolutely.
you got guys like Dennis Sperling. I don't know if you've been watching him on Willie D's channel.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have.
so, yeah, he's just like a lawyer that I won't want no black person to ever hire. You know what I mean?
What you said?
Because what I mean by that is that everybody
I said what
when it
you
comes to
said. I said
say it
what you
again.
said. I said what you said, like
Oh yeah,
agreeing with you.
yeah. He's like going by the law and doing this, but they forget that the law ain't designed for us. And the law, when it comes to these lawyers, can be kind of like preachers, right? When you go to church, you know, you can kind of like you can kind of like, if you know the Bible real well, you can kind of persuade people to make it say what you want it to say. You know, if you're a good preacher, you can really get the people to believe, oh, this verse says this. I feel like lawyers like that. You know, that's what made Johnny Cochran real good. He knew how to manipulate the law, make it make sense. That's why you have judges to say, okay, who's the best performer out here? Johnny Cochran was a really good performer when it comes to defending people, especially black folks. I think like people like Dennis Sperling, they ain't that creative. You know, they go by the law, know that the law ain't created for us, and they don't know how to just like articulate it to win a judge over or a jury over. But I really think he's somebody that don't even try to do that. But I'm praying for the young brother Karmelo. I think he's gonna get free. I think we need to stay on it. I think that we need to continue to uh, point out these things because people, again, like Dennis Sperling, has so much to say, but we know that there's more videos out there. There's more
Absolutely.
videos out there. How many know
Absolutely.
people record stuff that ain't even important. People record it. How did you record this? How about subpoena some of these phone records and people? We need
Thank you.
somebody. Yeah, we need somebody that's gonna go out there, subpoena these phone records. Who's really out there? We don't have
That's
nobody
right.
really out there other than what's her name, Doctor Matthew. We don't know how
Candace
much.
Matthews.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't really know what she's doing. But and that's another thing. The system take too long to work. I need them to be just as quick as they convicted this guy, my little
Right.
brother Carmelo. I need y'all to work just as fast. Why he got to stay in jail that long to get an appeal? Nah, we need to stay on this. That's why I support
Right.
your show. I'm gonna keep following you. You know what I
Appreciate
mean?
it.
And
Appreciate it.
this stuff make me mad. This infuriates me, man. Like it infuriates me, man. Like, come
That's
on,
what I
dude.
was just got to saying earlier. And when we first started covering it, I said they needed to get the phones because
Yeah,
in these days and time, all those kids love to
yeah,
get fights and everything on the phone. Okay.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, somebody phone got the evidence. Okay.
Somebody got it. Somebody got
Yeah.
it, man. And like, if we don't keep pushing it, guess what? In the next 2 weeks, there's gonna be another new hot topic.
Oh
Carmelo
yeah.
gonna be in jail, and if we don't keep it alive, it's gonna die
Yeah.
down. I guarantee you. But it's gonna take certain people, certain podcasts like yours that stay on the grind. Because at the end of the day, this young man in jail, man, and I really feel like, you know, it was self defense. I really think he should get off. Like, and
I'm gonna
then
be
get,
honest with you. It was
yeah,
it was an unfortunate accident because it was an accident. I don't
yeah,
feel like that. It's manslaughter. I don't feel like that at all. But if he
yeah,
do get manslaughter, I do feel like he should be able to get probation because he never been in any trouble. And that's
exactly.
why I don't understand why Sarah Fields and Fox and all of them saying what they saying, but at the end of the day, you're not looking at it that he's a child, never been in any trouble. But see,
Right.
because you don't want to look at it, what's the truth thing is he's black. You don't want to look at that. You want to say, oh, this is a black kid who unalive a white person. No, they were both kids in a confrontation,
Yeah,
both kids that had a confrontation. Now, if people want to really, if people want to really say something, why was your child in a confrontation with another child about a tent that wasn't even their personal belonging?
exactly.
Why was your
Exactly.
child trying to bully somebody? Why
Right.
was your child doing that? See, let's
Mm-hmm.
put the blame where the blame lies at. See, it's too in life, people love not to hold their own accountabilities. You have to
Mm-hmm.
hold your child accountability and everybody else.
Right.
If my child is sitting there and he's just talking to someone and not causing a ruckus, why would you go over there, grab his book bag, and start? You violated his boundaries. You
Yeah.
crossed the line.
Yeah.
That
And
was
then they
his space.
yeah, and then they
But
made
no,
it this
that's what they were saying. They were saying that, and the lawyer was like, the lawyer that was talking to Willie D, he was like, even if they was stomping him out, like he had to be getting stomped out to jump up and start stabbing people.
You
That
know
was
why
the
that's
only thing.
bull?
He shouldn't have
I don't agree
stabbed
with
them.
that.
There's
That's some
something called the
bullshit.
castle
Just to get
doctrine.
them off of you. If
Are
somebody
y'all
beating
familiar
you
with
up, you
that?
can't just,
Okay, hold on. Blue got something to say. Go ahead, Blue.
I just want to say, are y'all familiar with the castle doctrine? If I
I
remember
heard of it.
correctly, the
I
castle
heard of
doctrine
it.
basically means that your property extends beyond your home. So that means like if somebody was to mess with your personal property or your what is it? Or your car even. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you can stand your ground, you don't have to retreat. So they make all of these rules to basically give white people a way out to get away with the pew pewing. But in this particular situation, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had bad counsel. I mean, I could have represented
He
him
did.
better. So I think that lawyer did that intentionally.
I think all of us could have did, man. I mean, you got a lot of people talking about what happened, but we hear that there's more videos. Where they at? Like, how can you state your opinion, Dennis Sperling? You didn't even hear all the videos. He had somebody giving him the business up there on his show, and all he was trying to do was overtalk him. But how you could make an opinion based off of video, blow up the video. Like the only person I seen blew up the video so we can get a better picture. I think it was Willie D. But all these people are giving opinions, and Carmelo was scared, man. And when you hear his voice when the police took him in, man, that's a voice of a person that was scared that just reacted. Man, that alone right there, man, is just like that dude is a good dude, man. And then I heard Carmelo save somebody's life before, So I just think they gave him, they did him dirty, man. And I hope, we continue to do this and continue to talk about it for weeks on and weeks on, and not let it get stale and let it get old, because that's what tends to happen when we up here doing our podcasts and stuff. People tend to forget about real important issues like that, and we're on to the next topic. So once again, I commend this platform right here, man, for even talking about it tonight, because stuff like this make my blood boil and I get furious about it. So salute to all of y'all, man.
Well, we
Word up.
appreciate you, Stephen. Now, Ash, what did you have to say? And how you doing, Ash? Glad you joined us back. What do you have to say, Ash? Ash, are you there? Ash? All right, something going with Ash. Okay, Mr. Blue, talk to us.
All I was going to say is as soon as we collectively trust our gut and stop listening to the Boule class, we're going to have a
Yeah.
lot of changes, because what it is that was the whole purpose of the Boule class, is to try to convince you that what you see is not what you're seeing and what you feel is not what you're feeling. But I guarantee you, he would be singing a completely different tune if he couldn't imagine one of his children being in Carmelo's situation. And you can no longer just have the luxury of saying, oh no, my child would never be in that situation, because people don't understand, like I've been saying, the more the economy goes in the toilet, the more you're going to see these white bullies. I mean, first they started off bullying us wearing a police uniform, masquerading as a police officer. You know what I'm saying? But now they're just like, I can be a Karen and a Darren. I can be Chud the Builder. So you could have little mini Chud the Builders that are at these schools. Why do you think you have some of these mass unalivings at these schools? Because of bullying. Bullying is a problem, but also white supremacy is a problem. Half of these accelerationists have white supremacist manifestos. So this is not something that's a figment of my imagination. We're not people that are being caught up in our feelings. I just think we have to stop listening to people who aren't sensitive to Black people's pain and try to act like we have a high tolerance and threshold to racism, but also more importantly, that like we're not human and it doesn't count. Because even if Carmelo wasn't some clean cut, squared away kid, I saw the same problem, all the time, period, because we seen corrupt police and we see some of these white supremacists try to bait and target our children, just like the unsuspected Asian white supremacist that did what he did. So my whole thing of it is we got to stop demonizing our children, stop demonizing our people and acting like we got to do better. What do you mean we got to do better? There's over 40 million of us that are honest taxpayers. The problem is, uh, unfortunately, we've listened to white people long enough and we've listened to the boule class long enough that are basically telling us that we're supposed to take 1/2 or 1% of the wealth in this country and spread it amongst 40 million people. And we've done it civilized. We're not rioting every day. You know what I'm saying? We're not breaking laws every day. We're not shoplifting. We're not carjacking. We're not even raiding the Capitol. We're sitting here getting paid and getting underpaid. Meanwhile, you have people who've been propped up and now all of a sudden they're feeling the pressure. And because they're feeling the pressure, they're finding someone to take their stress out on. So when they get done beating the cat, beating their wife, doing inappropriate things to their children, they want to find a Negro to harm, because harming a Black person has always been an American pastime since the time of those postcards, when they would sit there and have postcards of lynchings, or they'll make those little ornaments of a alligator, you know what I'm saying, eating a Black baby. That stuff isn't just sick. That was actual entertainment for them. There was an enterprise. There was money made, because that's how they release their stress when they go through economic turmoil and they feel insecurity. So anybody who's sitting here trying to say, oh, this is a one-off, don't worry about it. They try to come up with all these excuses of why Carmelo got 35. Well, you're late to the party, because long before Colin Kaepernick took a knee, I saw a problem when I saw the patterns of police brutality and unalivings. I saw a pattern of white people being very hostile, saying the N-word out in public. I'm like, man, what is going on?
Yeah.
I said, is Obama causing all of this? Nah, it's the economy and the prejudice that's always been there. And so anybody that has their head buried in the sand, thinking that the violence is not going to uptick, you're out of your mind. It's going to
Facts.
get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. I think we doing a good job, man. I think that we just keep on this path right here. I think Carmelo is like the modern day George Stinney Jr. You know, the little, well, how old was he? 9 years old, man. He was a little kid, and they executed him, put him in the death chair. And even though Carmelo Anthony's not getting a death penalty, well, when you take away your life, 35 years is, that's enough time, man. You're not guaranteed to survive all those years, and he has epilepsy and stuff like that, man. So it's just unfair. And there's a lot of things that's going on, and I'm glad we're bringing this stuff to light. And I don't want it to stop, man. I want that brother to come home, and I want us to really stand up, continue to stand up for us, as Black folks. Really, I mean, there's power in numbers, man. And I don't think we really utilize that the way that we could. In protesting, we did that a long time ago, back in the days of the civil rights movement and all that. But I think we could continue to do that on a larger scale now. And
Yeah. All
I
right.
don't know. This stuff
You're right,
burns my
Steve. You're
yeah.
right.
This stuff.
But hold on. KC, glad that you joined us. KC, what would you like to add to the conversation?
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, what the gentleman was just saying about the 14-year-old boy that they executed, you know that they had to use a Bible, right, to get him
Remember
to
that.
fit
Hmm.
under the mechanism. And I just thought, well, they have used the law and religion to justify, sanctify harm to Black people, right? Slavery in particular. And one thing that Jeffrey Metcalf said was the judge said that he can sleep well at night because he knows that he followed the law to a T. And
Yeah.
if we think about it, even though they know it's rigged, even though they know that it's been created to work against us, they feel no sympathy, no shame, no guilt, because guess what? They followed the law, even though that same law was the one that legalized slavery. So it's a absence of humanity that's really plaguing these people that they need to get together.
Blue, what is your response to that?
I would say that they just don't have an appetite for righteousness. They're not a bit more a Christian than I am an atheist. You know, they don't really believe in God. They just use religion, you know, not relationship. They use religion as a shield. That's a psychological term when people need to kind of like decouple their consciousness. So for some of them, it'll be religion and they don't a bit more believe in God than the man in the moon. For some of them, which is the growing trend, is they'll just use science. So they'll have pseudoscience to say, oh, well, you're just not, you know, as evolved and you know, or you're just not, intelligent enough and all of that. And I'm like, if being highly evolved means I'm an enemy to the sun, I have a micro penis, I have low testosterone, I'm Hitler on soy milk, and I have to take steroids to feel like a man, I'm a man in a can, then I'd rather just be me. I'd rather be beautiful and brown the way God made me. Obviously, God didn't have a problem with diversity. He wouldn't have made diverse groups of people. Me personally, I love experiencing new cultures, trying new things, but not doing it in a predatory, you know, colonial, arrogant way. You know, narcissists always need a supply. I had to learn that just in personal relationships and human interactions. So when you think about whole groups of people who have been basically socially engineered through media and propaganda to feel like they're God's special little people. So they give them a choice. You're either God's special little people or you're special simply because you're white, so you're genetically superior. But they know when they get on the football field, like Metcalf, if they don't train hard and work hard, just being white doesn't give you the gifts to dominate on the field. Just being white doesn't mean you're going to get, you know, a perfect score on the SAT. And it doesn't mean that you're going to live in the neighborhood that Carmelo's family lived in. So when people have to face reality and it crushes, you know, their fragile matrix of reality in their mind, you know, they experience what they call elation depression. They're all elated, excited about a particular outcome, and then when their expectations and their experiences don't line up, then they get super depressed. And it seems like when they get depressed, if they don't go to alcoholism, being a day drinker like, you know, Mr. Metcalf, or, you know, use illegal substances, then they have to act out in anger, either unaliving themselves or in particular, that's why they'll find black children to bully, black women to bully. They'll, even in the LGBTQ community, they have discrimination. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we all have to come together as one people under God, and nobody has to lecture us about humanity. That's all we've ever embraced. And at the end of the day, that's something that we don't want to lose. And I think God will use us to be the salt of the earth. That's why everybody wants to come around us, come to the cookout, come to the juke joint, because we have soul, because we're dynamic. We're not static. We're not rigid. We're not computerized robots with no soul and no feeling. It's like some of these people, the way they live their lives, they're like slot machines. All they do is form a function, but they have no substance on the inside. So they're depressed and they're empty. And I'm going to tell you something. The more material things you get, or the more supposed privilege that you have, but you don't have people around you who love you, you can feel very lonely if you're not spiritually rooted. So that's the difference between religion and relationship. If you have a relationship with God, you can possess joy. But if you're just focused on material things and outward validation, you know, they have a whole viper, you know, pit of snakes. Capitalism and racism run parallel. And that's a control mechanism of the elites. Because like I said before, white supremacy is the name of the drug that they gave the white poor class. And all we do is argue and debate about the side effects. You know what I'm saying? When you take a drug, everybody's going to get different side effects. The black community, we have different side effects. So obviously you got some black people who have internalized white supremacy, and they hate themselves and they want to be a cheerleader for white supremacy. And then you have white folks that I think they need a strong, like I said, dose of denial every day. And they need to like supercharge their ego, because in reality, they have doubts every time when they go out and they interact in society, and getting a new car won't make you happy. And you got to think about it. They have the president that they want. They have control of the Senate, the Supreme Court, and the Congress, and they're still miserable. And they, you know, Karmelo got convicted and they're still miserable. You get what I'm saying? If you just pay attention to it, these people are empty. But that's why God calls us all to be who we are. So we should just got to continue being human beings. And I'll land my plane.
All right. KC, what is your response?
I would like to know his thoughts on comparative happiness. There's something called like the shine theory, where like that's if you're doing well, I'm gonna also feel good about myself because a black person doing well is good, is a net positive for everybody, right? But there's this thing, like you said, there's an emptiness. I would just wonder if it comes from like they're unable to take value or feel good about something unless they can compare it to somebody else with less. That's one thing I noticed about these people as well. But also the when it came to the whiteness, it's basically they're saying they know that whatever they go through, no matter how hard it is, they know that as a black person, it would be worse. And therefore, that's worth preserving this hierarchy, this structure that they pretend to not notice.
Well, they're definitely well aware of the hierarchy. That's the whole reason of them founding America in the first place and fleeing the colonies. The whole thing of it is they couldn't wait to be their abuser. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't wait. In other words, instead of trying to drain the swamp, they want to become Swamp Thing. Instead of saying, man, we want to take out the elite and the oligarchy, what they're really saying is, I'm complaining about who's getting a chance to participate and be a part of the oligarchy. It's like, let me in, coach. I don't want to be second string. I don't want to be third tier. I don't want to be a fourth tier white supremacist. On the team of white supremacy, I'm complaining about who starts because there's more benefits and privileges. So they don't want to dismantle the system of racism, white supremacy. They're just trying to find a comfortable place in it. Right. And they use capitalism as like the motivating force and factor, because what they'll say in economics is there's benign envy and malicious envy. Benign envy means like what you say, you're motivated to spend because you see your neighbor getting more. So in essence, they don't want you to be happy. They want you to be envious enough, short of unaliving or sabotage, for you to either work hard or get yourself into debt to impress people that don't matter, because they hire actors to get on television or be in magazines with the perfect smile and airbrush photo to make you think like, oh man, if you get this perfume or this cologne, you're better. If you drive this Bentley, oh man, you've made it because look how other people treat you, right? So that works for them. As far as all human beings, especially in our community, empathy is a big deal. See, and I think like they always say in psychology, your initial imprinting in the first 5 to 6 years of your life, you need nurturing, you need to feel safe, you need to have water, you need to have shelter. I remember my psychology teacher had taught me in college something that stood out to me many, many years later. He said, a baby's first line of defense is a smile. Otherwise, a baby can't defend itself. And that should let you know how wicked and evil people are that harm innocent children that can't defend themselves. Think about it. A baby can't even talk. All they can do is cry and all they can do is smile. That's their way of communicating with you to let you know on an emotional level of how they're vibing. So when it comes to us as human beings, all of us are going to get different levels of imprinting, but just as a baseline and a point of reference, if most people are taught to share and to be empathetic and have self-awareness. See, when you become part of a team, you don't try to compete against your teammates, to want to undercut them. You're like, how can I play my position so we can win as a team? So if you look at humanity as a team, you're going to want to be the best version of you that you can be, but you don't have to be jealous of Gigi. You don't have to be jealous of Robbie. You don't have to be jealous of whatever other position somebody else plays. And also, more importantly, when you're operating as a team in a healthy society, you embrace mentorship. Because everybody knows one day you're not going to be the king. But think about it, even in their fairy tales, what was it like Snow White, where the witch, she thought she was all of that. And then she looked in the mirror and she started hating on the youth, on the young girl. Saying it's like, I'm going to be the ball of the doll. Forget what Jesus gave me. I need to keep seeing Dr. Jesus, and I need some magic dust. To keep all this fineness together. But you know what? You don't lose your beauty just because you age. That's what they say, beauty is skin deep. But this is what I'm saying. When you want to appeal to people's vanity, because vanity fuels the economy. When you want to appeal to people's loneliness or emptiness, All of these things are designed to get you to focus outside of the self and operate on the lowest level of Maslow's pyramids of needs. So outside of just, basic shelter, they want you to be sex deprived or oversexed. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to have a sense of family. So if you have economic pressure, then you have a dysfunctional family and your mom and dad don't have time to be there, right? To nurture you, to raise you, because I think people had a better sense of family when it was more agricultural, right? When people lived on a farm and you literally had to spend more time at home. Maybe that's kind of the helpful thing about people starting to return home to work, right? Is they can be there for their children, and, childcare has gotten like through the roof. But in terms of the continuity of a community and of a team, see, when people understand the value of mentorship, see, you don't mind being a grandpa. You don't mind being a grandma. You don't mind bowing out gracefully on the stage and say, okay, I had my time to start, but now it's time for me to keep the continuity going, and let me pour into somebody who's coming behind me. And matter of fact, you're nurturing them since they're a child so they can discover themselves, right? And find what they want to do. And then they'll be good at playing their position so they don't have to be envious of anyone. Everybody has a little bit of envy, but I think they try to promote envy, competition, and performance. So, and then it goes into the neo-Nazi type of performance where it's about efficiency. So when you talk about Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, these people don't even like human beings. They just think of everything as like zeros and ones. And in their mind, they're like, okay, you know what? This is all about efficiency and performance and resources. So that's what's the problem is when people don't have a sense of humanity, a sense of self, and then they don't have empathy. And some people are born psychopaths that just don't have, the emotional bandwidth. But I think when it comes to sociopaths, which are formed by like our society and our environment, think of like overdraft protection on with your bank account. People are out here writing checks every day when we interact with people emotionally. But the reason why those checks bounce is because they don't have anything in the basement. That's why you have all of the problems that we have in society. We have the racism, we have the violence, because everybody's cashing checks that they can't back up. You can't use overdraft protection if you don't have something in savings, right? So we got so many people graduating, coming of age, like say that Metcalf guy. He was emotionally bankrupt. Obviously, his father was emotionally and morally bankrupt. So they had no overdraft protection emotionally. That's why he didn't have the impulse control. That's why he couldn't take a ribbing about the team, because that was like an insult, you know what I'm saying, to his ego. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's the best way I know to explain it.
That's like they're projecting all the time. We don't have impulse.
Bingo.
They do, but it's them who doesn't. We are criminal, but it's them who's doing the most criminal things ever. Why do 60,000 plus Americans die because they don't have health insurance? It's not because of black people. But what I wanted to get at is, what is your idea of maybe promoting a different political stance instead of checking out or voting blue no matter who, which I don't get. Why not like third party? The Green Party actually has a platform directed towards black people specifically.
Hang on 1 second. Give me like 60 seconds.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So, Stephen, Tamala, what are your thoughts about what you just heard, Tamala and Stephen? Tamala, you can go first.
I think he's correct. I really do, because I do my research as well, and I think he's very correct. He's on the money. They don't have it, and they get mad at us because they don't have it. And at the end of the day, they don't want us to have anything. It goes back. Everything that somebody accumulate, one of our people, they don't want us to have it. They don't want us to have it. And the only reason why some people can go through and they don't mess with them, and some people they do, because I had talked to someone earlier and we was talking about a case, and I was like, yeah, the only reason why he got as much time as he got, because at the end of the day, he's the private owner of his own catalog, and so when you don't have no Nobody owns your music. Nobody owns your stuff. Of course, they're going to do everything they can do to take it away from you and want you to hurt, want you to feel. But at the end of the day, we still rise. We still, stand tall. No matter how much they do. Our ancestors been doing it for many, 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 many decades. Many decades. They tried to humiliate them time and time again. That's the same thing with Karmelo family. They feel like here's a black family come all the way from New Orleans. Now New Orleans and come here in this high standing community. And a lot of them can't afford where they stayed at. Yeah, that's a big difference. That's why I tell people when you go, do your research. Make sure. I had to tell a friend recently from Chicago. She said, I'm going to Montana. She stopped by here. And I said, why are you going to Montana? Did you do your research about Montana? She said, yeah, no, I didn't do no research, but I like my, Montana and I can get some things done. I said, okay, but are there a lot of blacks there? Because if anything go wrong, do you have anyone to stand up and defend you? She couldn't even answer that. And I told her, if I was you, I'd think about it again. Because there's no way I will go to Montana, not having nobody. If anything, if they lied on you, you don't have nobody to fight for you. So you just doing what Karmelo doing that time. So at the end of the day, we got to think. I know his mom and dad wanted what was best for him, but you got to do your research when you go to communities. You got to. These people don't believe that we should have anything. And it goes back to history. Everything that we accomplish, they take. They take. It begins with them. Only way it's going to stop is for God to stop them. That's the only way. Because at the end, like I said all the time, I say this, Gigi, all the time. It begins at Wall Street. Before there was a white Wall Street, there was a black Wall Street. Y'all set the whole town, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was in Fort Sill. My family was in Fort Sill. My family is military. I've traveled all. We lived in Fort Sill. I never heard about it anywhere. Nothing about all the massacres anywhere until I got there. We came from Germany, went there, and guess what? That's when I heard about it. When I was 12 years old. And I was like, really? But they never told me this in no history class. They never taught about this and that. When you do your history, we are rich people. We are rich. We have to get it back. We are rich. We had a whole lot. They took it. And that's what they're doing now. Getting rich off of Karmelo. And that needs to be stopped. Because you should not be able to piggyback off of your son's death. Excuse me. He should not be able to piggyback off of that. That's unacceptable. You out here people just don't get it. You got to wake up, world.
May I interject here? Did
Yes,
you know
sweetheart.
the same day, the very same day that Hunter lost his life was the same day that Jeff put up the GoFundMe or the Give Send Go?
Absolutely. And that's the same day that a little bit after that, when they did the verdict for Karmelo and the verdict came back, they took that Give Send Go back, But I'm wondering if I need someone to tell me, did you get your money back? Because I've heard in a few comments that some people said they ain't got their money back. Said the whole thing was wiped
out. Blue, are you ready now? All right.
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm actually enjoying listening to all the brilliant people speak, and I appreciate you having this panel. And it's like 2:53 where I am in Texas. I don't know what time it is for y'all, but again, happy Father's Day to everybody that is a father. And I think the gentleman was asking me a question. What was that question again, sir?
Well, I've been watching the African Diaspora Network. There's a gentleman there who speaks up for FBAs. Love it, very good. And he's lately been talking about the Asian boycotts or the blackout of certain establishments that can't treat Black people properly. But he was talking about Juneteenth, and he was talking about how Black liberation needs to just focus on Black liberation. Let's not make it about anything else. Also, let's not make it about LGB or whatever. And I was just thinking to myself, are people aware that there are Black people who happen to be gay as well, or is that just kind of going over the head there? Because if we're going to talk about solidarity, we have to
Yeah,
be
all every Black person got a whole bunch of gay people in their family, or they down low.
right. So I was just thinking to myself, I was speaking to AI, and I just asked it a question: how do people who preach for freedom, solidarity, equal treatment still have kind of barriers within their own movement? It's like uncuffing one hand and then cuffing the
All
other.
right,
And
I can expand upon that a little bit. I think initially you asked me something about the Green Party, but since you brought this up, I'm going to go based on my own experiences. For my whole entire life, in terms of what I've seen and experienced, outside of just because you got to separate the internet from reality. The vast majority of Black people are not hostile people. We've always been somebody that's welcoming. And even me, like if I talk about the LGBTQ community and I have a critique, I'm not even talking about Black people. Because you know what? Because we're all niggas. See, you know how we're reminded that we're niggas? Look at what they did to Karmelo. Karmelo could have been fruity as a bowl of I don't know, cereal. That wouldn't have mattered. They wouldn't have said nothing about his sexuality. They would have focused solely on his race, right? And what gets me with some of the white liberals that happen to be LGBTQ, they will sit here and again, they're the ones that'll put emphasis on LGBTQ just so they can get lawsuits. But see, now we're about to go down a deep path. Because if you really want to know the truth, I think white feminists and white LGBTQ really hijacked the civil rights movement, and they took advantage of the good nature of a lot of our people thinking that they were allies. But see, when we start breaking down the numbers, it's like as soon as there were opportunities, think of it this way. We're fighting for rights and equality. We say fine, everyone can be included. Now imagine going to like Golden Corral. I haven't been eating at all. All of us haven't been eating, but we say, you know what? The little white kids right there should eat. This white gay dude should eat. Oh, white women, even though y'all are able to own land, vote, you know what I'm saying? Beat slaves, whoop slaves, have whole towns eviscerated because you lied. We still want to have some camaraderie with you because we're understanding that the enemy is white supremacy and economic suppression. But somewhere along the line, they stopped talking about white supremacy. They started focusing on identity politics. And when they did it, they skipped the line. And once they skipped the line, it's like they just started being greedy and started acting just like the white supremacists. Bingo, because they always had white to retreat to, which is what I was calling them out when they were sitting here doing things to stir up these same white conservatives that we are now dealing with that are violent. Notice conveniently, they're not trying to attack white LGBTQ people. They're not even trying to attack white women. White women are just pissing them off making Disney feminist movies. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere comfortable. They're not gonna, it's like they got a default to not harm their own. So it's easy for them to deflect and harm us. So me personally, I can't speak for other people. I think it goes back to what Gigi said that I think you got the whole thing is kind of comical to me because I used to always joke. I said women and gay people know motherfuckers' secrets. So I think like if you want a lot of these like Republicans to come clean, you know what I'm saying? I just think all it takes is I had said it even about Chud the Builder. I said, man, all it's gonna take is for one person, you know what I'm saying, to put him on blast. But okay, but then I'm gonna say something though that may sound a little controversial, but I think it's true too. The same way I have a problem with white women who weaponize their gender, meaning I'm all for somebody that's been dealt with like, sexual A. getting their just due, I feel like people should be arrested and be castrated if they're, doing the wrong. But when you have people that get caught lying, and and it's almost like the reverse of what's happened with Karmelo. They demonize a brother. They don't go after the Epstein type white dudes or Trump sitting here walking around like it's nothing. They go for low hanging fruit, and then later on you found out somebody fabricated something. That's kind of wrong. And also, too, what I'm saying is there's some people, let's say, like what y'all are saying, there's people who I wouldn't say they're necessarily DL. You just may have some people that, depending on what situation that they're in Hollywood or whatever, what I'm saying, you may not know somebody is transgender. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about me. I'll say this. I told people jokingly on X, but I was being real, especially after going through a divorce a few years ago. I said, look, if I ever was going to run for office or be a social media person, I would just be an open book about everything. So I could not be canceled and couldn't nobody ever jam me up, because you're going to have all kind of friends and people that meet you. So just because somebody DMs you, and they happen to be transgender, you'll have people who could try to be like, oh, wow. This is what I'll say. Or for instance, I'll say more particular with me. Let's say interracial dating, because my ex-wife was Mexican American. You have people who might be, they'll close ranks on something like that and say that disqualifies you to speak on, to be somebody's representative. That's why I say, like, I just speak my own truth. I'm my own man. And my experiences are of a Black man, and can't nobody take that away from me. But I'll never try to be somebody else's leader, and I will speak about myself, and I'll say, I'll speak my truth. But I just think whatever you do in darkness will come to light. So if you ever want to be somebody that's a public figure, just don't throw stones at people. And if you do something, well, I'll just say this about me. I'll cross on my fingers, knocking on wood. Any woman that I've ever dealt with, white, black, blue, green, purple, has always had respect for me. So when women have respect for you, they don't embarrass you in public. I can't speak for the LGBTQ community, but I'll say this. I have seen some situations where motherfuckers get blackmailed. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of funny, like what happened with Young Buck. And it just looks silly when people try to deny it, because it's like it get real messy. But like, okay, they got you on a phone conversation. You know what I'm saying? They got emails, whatever. So it's like you might as well just speak your truth. And I'm just saying, in this day and age, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think most people really care. I just think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, if you're your true, authentic self, you don't care about what nobody thinks. At some point, you're going to get old enough to realize, man, I only got a good 20, 30 years to live. So whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to do. But I think your private life, period, should not be for social media consumption if you want to have a life. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between a production and, you're doing something like the Kardashians or somebody's having like reality TV show. But I just think when it comes to people's personal life, unless somebody voluntarily puts it out there, I think that that's kind of wrong. And I think that's the only time where you've had people kind of have pushback. Now, if you're somebody that's being a predator in any regard, then yeah, I think whether somebody's trans, gay, a woman, a child, they should call you out, and that should be called out immediately. I don't know if that answers your question. I just in my mind, I'm gonna be honest with you. Go ahead.
I think KC wanted to know that I guess some Black people are wanting to cut off the Black LGBT, and he's saying, is that like self-destruction? And it is, because the population of LGBT people in the Black community is starting to be more represented. In the past, they stayed on the DL. I can speak because I am Black LGBT. And I see somebody in the comment section says, I guess gay people, they're not reproducing, and that's so false, because my last ex have 12 kids by 7 baby mamas. So they reproduce. When you're gay or lesbian, you're not infertile. You can reproduce, and a lot of them do.
But why
and to that case, so do you cut off people that are infertile?
Can I respond to that real quick?
Go ahead.
This is my thing let's say specifically when it comes to politics, and this is my only critique with the Democrats in terms of having a winning strategy. don't overstate the obvious, especially when you're dealing with people who operate in misinformation and deception as it comes to not only the Republicans, but it seems like the powers to be that are with media. Like, for instance, if you're a black woman and you're about to run for Congress, and I see that you're a black woman and I understand all of I would focus more on my accomplishments academically and everything than to keep overstating as a black woman, as a black woman. The reason why I say it is because black women are under attack right now, right? Black women got put on the forefront by the Democratic Party, not only with Kamala Harris, but even before that, they put Fonnie Willis out there. They put Letitia James. I thought that was really disingenuous while the white women just sat back there. I'm like, man, these people can get their house bombed. And these white supremacists that can't get a hold of these women because they feel like you're going against their trailer park god Trump, they'll sit here and, accost you at a Dollar General or wherever. Or when we see the baby that just lost his life in Mississippi, that to me, that's a response to all of that. Again, they don't see any of us as human, but a lot of them have disdain for black women, especially black women who are educated. So when they can't get a hold of Michelle Obama, they can get a hold of you. And then that's when it really is disingenuous, when you have some of these fake black conservatives that use words like she-bone and all some of them Negroes like that. I'm not going to say what I would love to see happen to them on your live, but there's some people like that I really wish that they would like choke on an egg or an apple or something and just not wake up, if I'm being honest. Like, they really are not, they are an oxygen thief and they have no integrity. But I think that in terms of bigotry, right? I know everybody has their own spiritual beliefs or whatever. I think when it comes to somebody getting involved in politics or representing people, I think generally speaking, and this is what I'm saying, if somebody states whatever their status is at least one time, after that, they don't have to keep making it an issue because people are like, okay, well, this is who you are. So now people are going to be more focused on what it is that you're saying, right? Now, I think ever since the internet and reality TV, it has taken us back to like a high school level where people are too concerned and being nosy, worried about who's dating who's making what amount of money. It kind of goes back to what Casey was saying about jealousy and benign envy. So if people can't outdo you, they're trying to find a way to sabotage you. And we live in a world now that's full of a lot of fake conservative white Christians, many of them which are down low, that'll mess around with their children and all of that. But they're still, what's the word? It's still something that's frowned upon just because of their quote unquote conservative values. Like me, I live around some Hispanic people. A lot of them are fake Catholics, but they'll swear up and down that they're a Catholic, this and that and the third. They'll have a Sancha, which means a side chick. You know what I mean? It's like people know how to be hypocrites with a smile. And that's what we're seeing right now with the Karmelo thing. That is like, it's not a human nature thing. It's an American thing. It's a Western culture thing. And I can't really tell you that what I know all the answers are. I think so much is moving so fast with AI, I thought it was a dead issue. That's what I'm saying. Like, for people to keep overemphasizing LGBTQ, I'm feeling like Obama did so much for gay people, almost at the expense of black people as a whole to a degree. That's another reason why a lot of those white folks got mad, which we're finding out later, a lot of them are hypocrites. I don't know. They're the ones trying to date, trans women. They're the ones that are looking for,
but Robbie, do you realize that the LGBT is just using as pawns? They are used as pawns in the game of politics. It's a good distraction.
Yeah, that's what I agree with you. I think it's just another deflection, so somebody doesn't look at those graphs of what I'm talking about economics. I mean, there's always been gay people.
I'm sorry, but I just want to say this, Gigi. I understand that some of it do be a pawn, but some of those people, they really doing that thing behind closed doors. I tell guys all day, if you know what sagging means, you'll pull up your pants. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, those people love love their community. I mean, they love their community because they can do things undercover, and like they always have. Now black women and men are getting ready. They're doing interracial, but back then, a lot of them was sleeping with black, African American women behind closed doors, but they wouldn't do nothing in public. So I'm saying to this is like he said earlier. This what they did with Karmelo, he was great. So if anything great, they're gonna sabotage you, especially if you're black. They're gonna sabotage you, and that's exactly what they did. He was great. Those boys wasn't going anywhere. I don't care what the news say. I don't care what nobody say. I can bet you money on it.
Oh my
Those
God.
boys
Who's in
wasn't
the
going
comment
anywhere.
section?
Those boys was not going anywhere fast. No, they wasn't. They were. That's why they were so jealous of Karmelo, because he was going somewhere. He had over 20 some scholarship and kept going. So no, they don't want to see that, and that's why the dad made the comments he
Oh, you're
made.
talking about that graping comment? Those white
Yeah,
supremacists keep saying all that stuff about Carmelo. Again, a lot of them are projecting. That's what I'm starting to realize. Like, not just this incident, but everything
absolutely.
leading up to it. They always have some. On one minute they're homophobic, but then on the next minute they're the ones that do all of this stuff, like the Chud the Builder guy. You're
Yeah,
openly racist, trying to
absolutely.
pretend like you're this alpha, but then you're getting allegedly pegged by a professional pegger. Pause. You know?
Right. Absolutely.
Look. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Things have
Keep
changed
it above.
now. I'm gonna keep it a buck. This is the whole thing. Till this day, still, just being accused of being gay as a man, not only could it hit your brand if you're trying to do something, but let's just say whether it's true or not. Just unfortunately, with the way the internet works and the way people are silly and immature, it's like it'll be something that's like attached to you. Like Ray J will never recover his R&B status, with the ladies because of some things that he said. Plus, I always think it's a little suspect for men to get on camera with their shirt off with other men. I mean, you could do it this is what I mean. Whatever you put out for public consumption, you can't later play victim about. Now, the stuff that P. Diddy has done, I just think he's a freaky nigga. That's my personal, my
And
personal opinion.
can I cut you off a little bit, Blue? No
Go ahead.
matter how gay Ray J does, women will still lay down with him. It does not matter. Women do not care about this gay stuff. They will claim all day. I know from experience.
So then it's just performance when they
Well,
say,
but see, I was
It's
going to lead up to a
performance at the
point. I was going
best.
to lead up to a point. Let's just say this, and this is what I'm saying in the defense of not just celebrities, all people. If there's somebody that, let's say that you guys say that's down low, or let's say they were willing to experiment, but there's somebody that says, look, this part of my life, I just don't want to be public. So then they trust somebody. I forgot the name of that one chick that was famous. That's like, she's trans, and I guess she's dated some celebrities and wrote a book or something. The point is, this is what I'm saying. It seems like there's some people that do things in the dark, and they're thinking, like Donald Trump with Stormy Daniels. Oh man, this right here is never going to see the light of day. But you got people who are opportunists. That's my problem. So it goes beyond, oh my God, I'm a victim of abuse, or somebody, raped me or whatever. It's you're betraying somebody's trust. So what is you guys' opinion on that? Does somebody have the right to be DL? And they're like somebody who says, hey, I'm not going to name a celebrity's name. There's a couple of them I could name that they're like, look, I love women. I date women. But let's say they got high as I don't know what. They were at one of these little parties or whatever, and they got some top from a trans person.
They should keep it to themselves.
But the point is, the trans person doesn't keep it to themselves sometimes.
That's horrible. And
you know what I'm saying?
I don't like her for that. I'm against LGBT people that do that.
I think there would be a lot more outings if LGBT people were like that, and there aren't. So I believe that we do trust and keep that confidence. It's just there's a difference between people who are heteroflexible. Some people are rigid, some people are very bendy, but a very big difference between people who are private and
you know what, Casey, can I ask you a question? Have you personally dealt with bigotry, like to the point that it's on your mind or you're mindful of it when you wake up? And let me say why I'm asking you that question. Every day that I wake up, the first thing I'm looking at is to see if this war in Iran is over, because I'm concerned about the economy, because I know how it's going to affect people. Then I may pay attention to make sure that the temperature's cool with some of this white supremacy, because there's always the threat of some children being harmed, at a school, or just, let's say at the end of this month, I'm thinking about going to SeaWorld or something. I'm hoping that there's somebody who's not a deranged person filled with hatred and envy that would just do something harmful to hurt people. I'm saying all this to say, I can't speak for other people. The last thing that even comes on my mind is to think anything hateful towards anyone, let alone to even just, like think about bullying somebody that may be LGBTQ. I'm talking about white, black, blue, green, purple. It doesn't even cross my mind. As a matter of fact, that's my point. The same way I'll say to white supremacists when they talk about black on black crime, I think people would be hard pressed to find a lot of trans people to attack. So when they come talking about trans bathrooms or trans people are the problem, I'm like, when I go out in public, only on I'm talking about maybe once or twice in my life in the last, 20 years, have I even seen somebody like that in public. You understand what I'm saying? I know people like that exist, but for somebody to obsess about it, you know what I'm saying, to the point, I'm like, as long as somebody performs their job and they don't bother you or come onto you in an inappropriate way, what I think is, to you guys' point, is you got people who are closeted, that look at a lot of porn, or maybe they could have had something happen to them when they were younger, or they got locked up in prison and they're struggling with some urges. So the same way I can get turned on if I see a woman with some big breasts at Walmart or wherever, you know what I'm saying? They may come across a femme, you know what I'm saying, male, and be turned on by that to the point that they feel like, okay, I can't just ignore that. I have to act on that. See, and at that point, I would say that person is just beyond closeted. They're having an identity conflict, right? Because that's what they like. That's what they're attracted to, but they're fighting against it. Versus, somebody who's just bigoted and mean because they're afraid, like, oh my God. Now, I will say this. I just think it's a bad look when they had like, what was it, drag queen day to read to like children or something. I just think sometimes people are too edgy with things. And I think the Democrats, just like they put black women out there, like you said, Gigi, like people using people as a shield. I think to get the heat off of them, some people will purposely do some things that are edgy, and they'll be like, just like you have Republicans who say, well, I'm going to do this to own the libs. They'll say, I'm going to do this to own the patriarchy. But it's like, yeah, but you're doing this in a hick town where now you're just going to, make even more white supremacists more angry. So not only this is what I know, somehow when they get done directing their anger at LGBTQ people and immigrants, the people that they tend to kill the most is us. So then when they want to kill a gay person, they'll kill a gay black person. When they want to kill an immigrant, they'll kill a black immigrant. You know what I'm saying? Like for some reason, when it comes down to them finally, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said kill. When it comes time to them finally acting out on their aggression in a way where it comes to the loss of life or loss of freedom or somebody being, brutalized, it seems like it's always acceptable for them to do it to us. And then when it's done to us, they'll bring up those other intersectioning factors. Oh, this trans person or this gay black man, you know what I'm saying? Or this black woman who happened to be something, you know what I'm trying to say? But the point is, it's a black person that's there. I don't want to ramble too much, but I'll say this. Recently, I went to go see the He-Man movie, right? The Barbie movie was done by some white lady. She was a feminist. She wrote the treatment for it. Okay, it made sense. It was the Barbie movie, and it was an opportunity for her to be an activist, you know what I'm saying, using the medium of Barbie. And, the movie made sense. This lady chose to do the He-Man treatment. He-Man was comical. There was one thing that I didn't like about that He-Man movie. And I've noticed that a lot of champagne socialist white women choose to do this, and I've checked them in the Democratic Party. Okay, she wrote in the character Man of Arms. They switched him from a white dude to a black dude. At first, I'm like, oh man, we got diversity. They kept saying this is going to be a diverse cast, and in other words, this is just something that's progressive. I'm like, okay, I don't care if white supremacists get bent out of shape about it. This brother's be a good actor. So I'm there in the movie, and guess what? The story arc for this brother was that he was an alcoholic, defeated, demoralized man. Like, and he was a black man. He's, in other words, the only dysfunctional family and character in the whole story arc was this black man. I felt so offended by that. And they literally had him drinking liquor. I'm like, when I was a kid, right, playing with my He-Man toys, that wasn't the storyline. Like, why did you have to make the Negro as the one that had a dysfunctional family? His daughter was biracial and she's bossing him around, trying to teach him how to reclaim his masculinity, his manhood. I just thought it was really like cookie cutter. And I just felt like, wow, they did the same crap like they did with Star Wars. They had to let the brother be running around. He was fearful. He's scared. He's scared of the Empire. You know what I mean? They didn't want him to be a romantic interest or have, any type of redeeming quality arc. He had to basically be a criminal and a coward. But that was the
Let me
only way
just
they
say
could get the white supremacists to accept a female white lead. You understand?
Because
Yeah,
the
let me just pick it back off of you right quick. I'm just gonna say this. Yeah, I believe everything you said, and I totally agree with you. But I'm gonna say that you said you didn't understand. I'm gonna tell you the thing that sums it up. These are everything that they do is a reflection of what their ancestors did, but they hate us because it's happening all over again with them. The urges, all that other stuff. Their ancestors did it, and now it's happening again. It's a cycle, bruh. It's a cycle. It's a cycle that they try to, how can I say it? They try to torture us for the desires they have within them. You see what I'm saying? Everything came from them. We didn't. Our people never started raping. Our people never
Graping,
started
please.
graping. Our people never started graping. Our people never start doing the other stuff that they do. You know what I'm saying? And the assaults. They never start. It never start. It started with slavery. Okay. And these people continue to do it this day. It's just like behind closed doors. A lot of them wants to be a woman. I'm gonna use Caitlyn Jenner for that. She was a tennis player, but she thought she was gonna get all this when she come a woman. She was gonna do everything, get everything she wanted. But now, I read somewhere where she wanted to have it reversed. But see, that's those people. They don't like their own self. They don't like their own self. They don't like what they did.
No,
Their
she don't want to
ancestors.
get it reversed because she was just begging Trump to get the F on her passport.
Mm,
Well,
Got you.
Yeah,
right.
that
Well,
just
if that's
came
what
out.
but that's what she said. She rather, she made a, you know.
Yeah, but that
So,
just came out recently because of the
oh,
passport thing, and she wanted
oh,
the
okay.
F marker.
Oh, okay.
But
So,
Because
but
I
that's
know
why
but
I
I
was
it's
read.
asking
always
KC.
it's always a lot of rumors and always a lot of lies with AI on different stories.
No, this wasn't AI. This was her on. What's it that Kardashian show when Chris was talking to him. You know him
Mhm.
because you got to call him him because that's what he is.
Well, I don't have to call him. I'm gonna call her.
right. But I think the Democrats or the liberals, they engage in identity politics because they can't engage in anything else. They can't talk about material gains because it goes against all of their donors. So they heavily indulge in this moral kind of superiority and hyperfixate on the LGB. But as you were saying towards the drag queen story time or something, if you ask a lot of LGB people, they're not for the drag queen story time. They think it's highly inappropriate. You have to pay a cover to get into drag shows. So why would you even do that in schools? Mind you, a lot of drag queens are heterosexual males as well, if you didn't know that.
You
But
know
Right.
what, Casey?
Absolutely.
I would say this just as a whole in terms of the society, and I feel like it has a lot to do with just marketing in some way of them making money. I think content
Absolutely.
overall has just been over sexualized. I don't think
Yes, it is.
anyone wants to be over sexualized. It's not safe for anyone to be over sexualized. And something I'm gonna tell you that people joke about, but I don't think it's funny because I've looked at some prison videos. This one guy named G Street News, he talked about his experience and just the corruption that he saw with the guards and all that. But I think one thing when it comes to rape and assault that people don't talk about is how they almost do encourage some of those things in prison and how like the people who are the predators, if you listen to the stories, it has nothing to do with sex. It has everything to do with power. So, and I guess that's the whole point of what I'm saying. I think sex is something that's meant to be sacred, and it's something that shouldn't be discussed. In other words, your private sex life shouldn't be discussed in front of, the world, especially if you want to have your privacy and your love. But I think in terms of how they hypersexualize things, it's all about power. So then they paint this narrative, right, to make people fearful and be like, well, wait a minute. The same stuff that happened in prison over there of people not giving somebody a choice, but just, violating somebody, then they'll automatically assume that that's how,
But it was
maybe
taught.
people are. Go ahead.
But it was taught long time ago. That's why they continue to do that, because it was taught long time ago. It was taught. It goes back to history. It was taught. Nobody just go and feel like, you don't just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to grape somebody. It was taught that through generations after generations, decades after decades. These people have, I'm sorry to say it, but they have done it to minorities for a long time.
You're
Okay?
right.
They have done this. It started with the Indians, then it came to us. Okay? So they have done this. And that's why they continue to do this, because guess what? They want that power, just like you just got through saying. They want that power. First thing they say about when that boy got that time. If you go through the comments, because I'm one that likes to watch the reviews. Go through the reviews to see if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing for me to jump or for me to eat at or a hotel. I always do the reviews. And the same thing with Karmelo. I went on everything and I put everything. Attention, everyone. This is what Tamala has to say, okay, about what's going on. And I'm going to tell you something. People had him in a dress. Oh, they were saying all kinds of horrible things. Where would you get that out of your mind? And right now, this is a kid, yo. Why would you come to that term?
Because it's a humiliation ritual. I will say this.
What I'm trying to tell you.
But the people are doing it in the comments section. The same people that don't like gays will be the same people that will
absolutely
have that
but
idea.
It's a power.
Well, you know
Just
what?
like
I can already tell you
power.
spiritually, the people like that's in the comment section, guess what they are? They're predators in disguise.
Absolutely.
They're probably harming children. And let me tell you something. They would be the person that would probably try to SA an LGBTQ person. Like, you would be surprised. You'd be like, wait a minute. I thought you didn't like whatever. And they'll be like, shut up, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you this. I feel like God does everything for a reason. I feel like when God throws something in my lap, he feels like I can handle it. And, I'm not somebody who's a social media influencer or anything like that. But if I ever thought of getting into it, I'll say, I appreciate KC asking me some tough questions, because I feel like that means somebody may feel like I have the ability to articulate. Because me personally, there's certain things that I wouldn't talk about, but I really don't care what anybody thinks. I'll say this. Let me say this. And this one saying you got to be careful not to incriminate yourself. But I didn't do anything criminal. But I'm just talking about life, right? Let me just put it to you like this. When I went through my separation from my ex-wife, I met a friend of mine that I met at a strip club. Like, I was with some dudes. They went to a strip club, right? And they were sitting here tipping and doing all this and that and the third. I ended up becoming friends with a couple of strippers. I'm talking about really, really good friends. And then through that, I happened to come across a female who ran an escort service. Now, when one time, I'll never forget it, we were like at Denny's or something, just all talking. When she told me about how many, first she told me about the swinger clubs. She said, if you knew how many lawyers, doctors, nurses, teachers, we ain't talking about actors. She said, you'd be surprised how many people participate. And so when they sit here talking about Diddy parties, I'm like, who do you think he learned that from? These same hypocrites that'll be in the comment section saying all this and that and the third. They'll be the ones paying people to sleep with their wife, do all kind of stuff. I'm talking about she was letting me know the whole tea. But I'm gonna tell you something that's really
thing was politics.
Wait. I don't want to lose hold of something, because this is what I'm saying. This is what I lay my card down on. To Gigi's point, you got a lot of people who are hypocrites in this world. What this lady let me know, you know what she let me know? She said, you see all these girls right here? Because at that time they had Backpage. She said, I'm going to show you something to blow your mind.
Absolutely.
All of these men have choices. Do
Come
you
on.
know? Okay, they had a choice between a Latina, just female, and they had a Latina, I guess, transgender. And the motherfucker looked like, you know what I'm saying? This bitch spent some thousands of dollars on her body. You feel me? So the point that I'm saying is, but they didn't what is it? There was no deception on who this individual was. Who do you think got the most phone calls? And I straight up heard people on
Transsexual.
the transsexual. And I'm talking about you had business people, Hispanic construction workers,
Yeah, absolutely.
politicians, the whole nine. I'm talking about making guap. Now, I wasn't involved in terms of collecting any money or anything like that. This person was just showing off, like with their phone, like, look. In other words, I was just blown away about the level of hypocrisy and corruption in people. And let's put it this way: there's even people that I found out that I knew later, that I found things out about them that kind of made me chuckle. I was like, "Oh man, you and your wife both are cheating on each other, and y'all don't know it." You know what I'm saying? But you're a sheriff, though. You know what I'm saying? Or you forget that. Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead, baby. You finish it, then I'll go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that was it. I just want to say, like, again, this is Robbie just being quiet and observing life. You just be surprised how many people are hypocrites. So I just let people talk, and people will judge you for things that they probably are doing or have done. I'm talking about as simple as being unfaithful in their relationship.
It's their demons. It's their demons, man. It's their demons, and they try to control it, but they can't control it. Just like you said, urges. But I'm gonna say this: when that young lady told you about showed you in her phone and about all the doctors and lawyers, let me just say this: I have a friend. He's transgender, and I had to take him to Miami because I wanted him to see that transgenders don't act like he acts. You know what I'm saying?
Lord,
because
Tamala, you always told me this story. Please, let's not go to the story.
No.
Now, is this
transgender? This is
a trans man?
Totally, yeah, but this is something totally different. You know what? Everybody, a
trans man is born female.
Yes.
Yes, he's still transgender, no matter how you look at it.
A trans man is born female. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so he oh Gigi. But listen, he told me, he said, go back, I got somebody coming. And I'm like, what? He said, go back in my room, I got somebody coming. Don't come out, because they don't want nobody to know that I got people over here, got you over here. Okay. So I was like, all right. So I went in the back of his room, and do you know, I was shocked at who I heard. And I know this dude, okay? And he's big time D boy. And I'm like, really?
Okay, well, this is what I gotta say. Why are y'all so shocked? Like that? Why are you so shocked with people that's messing with a trans man or a trans woman?
Gigi, this is what I'm saying. This is supposed to be a claiming. So this is supposed to be a D boy who claiming he's straight.
Who cares? They all get down, even the pastors. I'm just saying, Gigi,
he was just showing
I don't understand about the shock. Y'all been knowing, just like Atlanta. How long have Atlanta have a reputation of being gay?
Yes, Gigi, and most of them people come out and you know they are.
Continue the shock.
But a lot of them people you don't know they are. So I'm saying, to this point, you find them on Grindr and everything.
I don't get what you mean. A lot of them you don't know.
Hold on.
Assuming that you're straight. Why do
let me tell y'all a story, and y'all tell me. I would like to get y'all opinion on this, and you tell me if this was fair or not, or if this made this individual gay. Right?
Can we just differentiate between people who are in the closet and people who are in the basement? Because that's where a lot of these people will advocate.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
I'm glad y'all using those terms. Because I'm gonna tell this story. We're gonna just say alleged. Allegedly, there was a young man named Magic Johnson, right?
Uh-huh.
He got drafted by the Lakers in the 80s. And he became really, really good friends with Mr. Buss, Dr. Buss. Now, there was a guy who was a center on that team named Vladdy Divac, or who's a player. He was a player. And he was telling a story. You could probably find it on YouTube. And he wasn't trying to be messy or nothing. He just said, look, at this particular party, it was like in a high-rise suite. They had a jacuzzi in the floor, in the middle of the floor. And Magic Johnson was in that jacuzzi. And he had his arms out, and there was 2 females, you know, in each arm. There was more women than men, let's say, at this party. You know, women walking around topless or just in a bikini or whatever. Everybody's having a good time drinking. Now, allegedly, Magic had been getting really close to Mr. Bus, and he said that coming from between his legs was a transgender woman that was topless. You know, he knew that it was a transgender once the individual stood up, I guess. So my point is, and this is just my personal opinion from just what I've heard throughout the music business, Hollywood, whatever, what some people will do, and that's how they get some of this blackmail footage on people. They'll have you having a good time drinking, doing drugs, or just see if you're comfortable with certain things. Because there's been a couple of rappers and people who've talked about white parties, you know, allegedly cane parties where all kind of stuff happened. They see, you know, female celebrities that you wouldn't expect to see that are lesbians or just bisexual, people letting their hair down. But in this particular situation, what I felt was that I don't even think Magic Johnson knew at that particular time who that individual was or what they're doing, because he didn't look like he was like all the way there. So what I'm saying is, and I've heard more than one.
Real Magic Johnson?
Yeah, I'm talking about the real Magic Johnson.
Oh,
I
was hoping you use a different name.
Oh, well, that's why I said alleged. But I mean,
that don't mean anything, Blue. Mr. Blue, I'm shocked at you. But go ahead.
Nah, I'm okay. I don't know. Well, the reason why I say this is because you know, later on his status with HIV or whatever. I'm just saying, like, when you see somebody in the public light, you think one way of them, right? And what I'm saying is, I don't think he was somebody that was closeted or whatever. I just think when you have drug use and when people put you on a bubble,
why
right?
do you think one way of them?
Because of the public persona that we see, I guess.
Absolutely.
If I'm being honest.
That's
what I'm saying. Like, you don't know people's private life. You just know what you see. Again, I was an 80s kid.
Anything?
No. What I'm saying is, I'm telling you, I was an 80s, 90s kid, like at the time, right? So what I'm saying is, the whole idea of celebrity used to have privacy to it. It wasn't until like after Flavor of Love where people just started either walking around. No, what was it? Real World. Like, do y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, the whole idea of television and content changed. I
understand exactly what you're saying.
Now where it's like nothing is private. Nothing is private. That's what I'm trying to say. So in a way, it kind of spoils celebrity now. You know what I'm saying? The idea of celebrity. So now you got to rethink how you do things. You just need to be authentic. That's what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying by being authentic, Blue, but I disagree with you. I think in the Trump era, most Republicans are not authentic. I don't think Erica Kurt is. And your authentic and vulnerability will be weaponized and it will be used against you.
Oh, no. Listen, let me say this publicly. Calling all trans, femboys, and I've joked about this on my live, black men who are personal trainers in a lot of these white enclaves, because they will invite you to those swinger parties. I'm gonna go down the line. Sarah Palin, she likes soul pole, but now she's trying to act like she's.
Let's not do celebrity names because you can get sued. You know.
Really? Well, this is a fact. Glenn Rice.
Even if it's a fact,
you can't. If it's public knowledge, you can't.
I'm going to try to stay.
No, I got you. And I'm going to go there for the sake of you. Okay. I'll use more of a charades. Let's just say there was a lady who was a Congress lady in Georgia that allegedly, she got divorced later on, but allegedly this lady, it was like a known fact. And I joked about it because I can pick up on white women who secretly mess around with black men. Like, I
Really?
don't necessarily be buying all that. I'm Miss Conservative, blah, 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 blah. Because first off, you can tell when their husband hasn't touched their vagina in like 2 or 3 years and they got cobwebs.
Was
Just
it
like,
JJ?
So you have
oh,
a
I'm
beef?
sorry. So the thing that I'm trying to say is allegedly this lady was messing around with a black personal trainer at her gym. And before she launched her political career or started trying to be like this social media person, she just kind of like made that person disappear. But it was kind of a known fact. And what I'm saying is, me being somebody throughout my whole work life, even when you work in corporate America, different things, you'll find out like when you have some white women that are in positions of authority, it kind of reminds me of the plantation. It won't be the brother that you think that's all
Absolutely.
thirsty chasing them. They will aim after you. And let me tell you something. You have not seen nothing till you see a determined white woman with authority. They will
Come on
they
now.
they
You
will
better stop,
seduce
brother.
you.
'Cause
They will
people don't want
seduce
to
you or
hear the
cause
truth.
you. They will cause you have to get fired from, like, leave your job because you'll be like, man.
Come on, brother.
And there's always the stereotype that, oh, it's black men chasing. No, white women with power can be just as seductive and cruel as white men. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
That's all I'm
Devious.
just trying to say. And
Yeah.
I'll leave it like that as respectful to your channel. But I'm saying these are like known facts. Like, that's why I laugh when other people act like they're shocked. I'm like, oh yeah, man, she goes to Willy Wonka chocolate factory. I don't believe this shit. I'll fuck the reparations out that bitch. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
No, you
I'll
is
fuck the
crazy.
reparations
You
out that
off
bitch.
the
I'm like, I don't buy
Okay,
none
well,
of this
let's be
Republican shit. Go
careful.
ahead.
But I'm just being honest. People don't. People, like you just got through saying. A lot of times with the situation with old boy, a lot of times people don't know this. People don't know this just because everybody else know it doesn't mean everybody knows this. You feel me? Because a lot of
Know
people don't be
what?
out there like this.
Know what?
Their secret
No.
lives.
Well, their
Yes.
secret
Thank you.
life is
Secret
supposed to
life.
be their secret lives. It
All
don't
right, look, I'm
supposed
gonna
to
say
be
something
nobody's
straight up. It's a
business.
recorded space. Somebody can judge me if they want to. I'm gonna just say like this, right? I think it's kind of unfair that let's just say, for instance, you're a man, you like titties, you like a pretty face.
Blue, let's
Mhm.
I'm
watch the language.
Okay, which word should I use?
Boom. Just say boobies.
a man and I like big balloons, but
Okay,
Yeah.
bingo. Let's say
Yeah, because
let's say you're a man.
we
Let's say you're
can't
a
make
man and you
this
like
into
balloons. You like
a
balloons?
freaky late night talk now.
No,
What
no,
was
it's
No,
not
wrong
like
with
that.
he just
No.
he
Carmelo?
just proving a
There's a
fact,
method to my
DG.
madness of what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is, I
I
know
will
what y'all say about down low, and I know what y'all say about basement. What I'm saying is, you straight up. I'll tell you a good example. Can be X, the website X. You could
Yeah.
have men that are just like scrolling, and you know what you see? You see big old balloons. You see a pretty
Oh yeah.
face. You know what I'm trying to say? You're not
Yeah,
on no
I know what you're
whatever,
saying because I have
and
to
so,
get off there. I have to get off there because there would
so
be a lot of.
so what I'm saying is,
Well, Tamala, you need to change your settings.
Oh,
So
I
oh,
do,
you can
honey. I
change
do,
your
honey. I
settings where you
do.
don't
so
ever see nothing like that. That's
so
your
so
settings.
got
I
you.
do. I
Yeah.
don't even go on it no more.
Yeah, well,
Lord.
what I'm trying to say is just in general is that what I'm saying is, here we go again. I think someone should let somebody know if they're looking at a woman or a trans woman because somebody may not know.
Absolutely.
you
That's
mean like
all I'm trying to
Absolutely.
say. And so sometimes,
Absolutely.
so in that way, if somebody makes that choice and that decision, that's on them. But like I
And
told you, you can have people who can weaponize it against you later. You know what I'm
right?
saying? And it may have not even been all of that. But like
and
me
that's what
personally,
I
I
was
don't think
saying
about
about.
that or worry about that, you know. But
And
yeah.
that's what I was getting ready to get to about my my friend that is transgender. He didn't let the person know. And
Oh,
don't you know they try to drag him with the vehicle, almost try to kill him.
oh,
But he's still out here not letting them know. And see, that's a dangerous game because me and my other friend, we say, oh, we don't want to be out here with him. And then you ain't telling the people the truth. Then here we go, being unalive. You feel me? Because everybody's not going to accept that. Everybody's not going to accept that. You have to be truthful in your dealings.
well,
People just like to be secretive. Yeah, of course. But I think you should tell somebody because it's a whole lot of guys that I thought wasn't on, you know their body because you see them at the basketball court. You know what I'm saying? I be, you know, you see him at the basketball court, and I'm like, okay, I seen that body before, but guess what? They on Grinder.
Right.
I be,
But
yes,
Well,
and I'm
that's
like,
their
what?
business, Tamala. That's their business.
speaking towards that,
Gigi,
But
but
go
it's
ahead,
not
Casey.
it's not their business when you're going out here sleeping with women and you're not
No,
telling
the
these
men
women.
that's on Grinder, if they on Grinder, that's their
No,
business.
but I get her point
Not
about
the men,
being
not the
bisexual and
men.
not saying it. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah,
Women
let's keep
who are
it a buck.
heterosexual, if they hear anything about a man even kissing another man or doing whatever, even if it's a trans woman, they're gonna say that's a man. They're gonna judge you. I mean,
but
that's pretty much.
They're gonna judge you, but they're gonna sleep with you too.
Who? Some women will, but some women don't want that, Gigi. So
Some
you
women
need
don't,
to
but a
tell.
lot do.
Just like when a lot of okay, back
It's
in the
the
day, it used to be
hypocrisy of it all. It's
You
the
know what's
back in
the
the day.
hypocrisy
ironic
of it
thing?
all.
That almost makes me want to laugh. I was looking at I like to watch those police interrogation videos
Uh-huh.
on YouTube. So I was just going through some of them, and then I saw a couple of headlines. It was like, one was a white dude and one was a black dude, and it said, and one was a Hispanic dude. They were like, "Man unalives gay lover to hide his secret." And these dudes look like they go to Gold's Gym. You know what I'm saying? They look like,
Right.
they could get any woman they want. But I'm thinking like, why did you have to unalive? It kind of made me laugh in the sense of the leaps that people are willing to go to keep secrets. And that goes back to what I'm saying, that I think it's a very dangerous game, to your point, that I think they should just respect somebody's right to privacy. But I also get it.
Absolutely.
I also get
And
it because you know what it
That would
is?
never happen.
and
You're
No,
that's
no,
the
no, no,
living
same
no.
in
thing with
you're living
I
that
just
in
want
a
to land my
world that
plane
would
here.
never happen.
I just want to land my plane here.
Go ahead.
Somebody was saying this. This was back a couple of years ago when there was like debates on the X spaces, and there were some people who came in there that were LGBTQ, and they were talking about how they felt and how they identify. And basically, what I understood from what this one lady was saying, she said, "Look, all we want is to be loved and accepted like everybody else." Meaning, this is what it made me think. Let's say if somebody was transgender and they had been fooling around with somebody, it would be no difference to me if I was fooling around with a white woman and she never wanted to be seen in public with me. It would make me feel like, okay, you're slumming it up with me. We're doing all these monkey back flips. We're doing all this good stuff. We're even having pillow talk, but you're not. See, that's what I'm saying. If you're dealing with a prostitute, see, then it's transactional. But I think when you give somebody false hope, let's say as a celebrity, or you could just be somebody who's a good man of, I don't know, character and substance, and maybe this person likes you, they're attracted, you both saying I love you, then at some point, it makes me think of the video. Y'all ever seen that video? I'm gonna just say Bobby V. I'm not gonna say his name. He was an R&B singer, and there was
oh
around the
yeah,
same. Y'all seen that video? Come here, Bobby V. Bobby,
yeah.
that nigga took off running, and there was a cell phone following. I said, "Oh Lord, oh Lord!" I said,
You said like you said like Nella what's his name, Nettie said to what's his name, Clarence or whatever, that you know that couple that be on TV, you said it just like she said to him. I got your dinner, Clarence.
"Yeah, man,
But
like,
I know that Bobby
mhm.
V. I know
yeah,
that little Bobby V thing that you see. Your Bobby V took off too.
yeah." He took off
He took
running,
off.
and what I'm saying is, you knew that the person was a lion. They were just like saying like. First, it seemed like it was a transactional thing, but I think it was more than that. Because again, how they broke it down, and that's what people just better be careful. Is like some people want to be seen in public, and at the end of the day, if you're gonna, that's what I mean by being your true, real, authentic self. People want to be loved, so that's what the white supremacists will do. They'll come slum up with you. Think about it. Listen, Lord,
You
should I
telling
say
the
it?
truth.
But
Speak back.
Hold on,
Speak
Tamala.
back,
Wait,
Go
Big
ahead.
Blue, because a lot of
Tamala.
people don't agree.
Wait. Now, Blue, with that situation, that has nothing to do with love.
well, that's why they want them in the closet. That's why they want to take away their rights, because they were comfortable with them being in the basement with them. The more
Take
advocacy,
away
Absolutely.
who rights?
the trans community's rights.
Take
That's why.
who wants to take
Okay.
away the trans?
Well,
Just
those are,
hold
those
on,
are,
one person at a time, so I can
Okay.
understand.
Go ahead.
Now,
those
what are you saying, Casey?
well,
Who?
those
Just
those
name them. Say Republican,
yeah.
Democrat. Name them. Be clear.
Yes, the Republicans who constantly attack the we don't want boys and girls sports. It never goes the other way. They never say we don't want girls and boys sports. But they
Because
want to take
it's
the
not popular. It's not
exactly.
popular and it's not powerful. They need a
Mhm.
distraction. They need more people on their side. So they know that Black people as a whole are more homophobic and transphobic. They want to split the Black vote. Okay. So it's all politics.
So then how do we disarm them then? Because
How do you disarm them?
yes, then you have to take
I
away
think it has to go back to what I was saying about narrative and optics. Like, here we go again. Stop overstating the obvious and don't allow yourself to be used as a pawn for people who have ulterior motives. Because there are people within the Democratic Party that, again, people want to be part-time minorities with full-time benefits. So you got
Mhm.
somebody who can be a white woman claim, well, I'm a minority because I'm a woman and I'm LGBTQ, but then they'll sit here and switch up and vote for Trump, vote against Kamala, vote against reparations. You get what I'm trying to say? And it kind of goes back to a.
I'm getting lost, and I
Go ahead.
want to understand both of you, but I don't understand both of you, so I'm trying to catch up.
Go ahead.
So, when KC, you're saying that how do you disarm the Republican Party?
No, how do you disarm the bigots who want and the oligarchs who want to play identity politics to divide the Black vote, like you said? With
You cannot break them up. What do you mean?
No,
no,
he's talking about the really powerful, rich people who will put money behind certain stories being prioritized in the news or certain narratives. Because that goes back to what I was saying about
Okay.
optics. Like, you know what I'm
Okay, can
saying?
I say, yeah, I want to
Go
say
ahead.
something more. Now, KC, I don't
Mhm,
know if you've been looking around.
mhm.
Okay, so this is much bigger than LGBT.
I know.
However, we do know some groups are so obsessed with LGBT, they will
Yeah,
make that their whole focus and be distracted, right? So
yeah,
a lot has to do with babies and white population, all right? So, with that being said, those same big groups that has all that money, they are funding different places in Africa to push the anti-LGBT laws to
yeah.
kill gays and trans right now. And those are the same groups that are pushing propaganda in the media. I see it all the time. Um, and you want to know, how do you break that up?
How do you take away? How do you take
Well,
away their fuel against?
KC, can I answer that for you?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. All those other like little slogans that maybe worked as talking points to bring all the people together on the right, all that stuff's about to get unraveled for two reasons. One, the reason why they kind of went with this war with Iran was to be a distraction from Epstein. Because if you remember a few months back, that was like a big thing. Trump couldn't get beyond it. Even him and Elon were kind of beefing. So you got some of the oligarchs that are at odds with each other because some of them are the tech bros, and then some of the other ones are just the greedy, conservatives that we've always known that they're hypocrites. They'll say they're against immigration, but then they'll take money to fund to bring illegals over here, and then they can just, again, keep the core middle class white person either angry and afraid or give them an enemy to be upset with. But the one thing everybody can agree on, and this is the reason why Obama got elected, the economy went in the toilet. It was almost the worst since the Great Depression. And the only reason why I didn't reach those levels is because of all the safeguards that we have. I'm telling you right now, the shenanigans that Trump's been pulling, and some of them the tech bros want to happen. When these white folks' pockets get hit so hard, if you notice, you don't hear anybody talking about immigration or LGBTQ right now or any of that. The only thing you hear them talking about, sadly, is here we go again. Their default are black people. Oh my God, what about black on black crime and all that? But the main thing a lot of them are worrying about, the gas prices. The war is unpopular, right? So you got gas, You got the war, and the other thing is the economy. Let me tell you something. People, like I say all the time, people have only so many Negroes and other people to blame when they start seeing their property tax go up, their homeowners insurance go up. These data centers are starting to cause their electricity to go up. See, people want to be bigoted comfortably. They want to be comfortable in their home with the internet, with some Dasani water, with their feet propped up, eating a Pizza Hut pizza, talking about white oppression. You know what I'm saying? But once they really start feeling oppressed, and the beautiful thing of it is like you voted for the dude who's being controlled by people who don't care about you. So at this point, since they've locked our people out of opportunity, and the only thing they offer us is bigotry in exchange for justice, I'm like, it's a beautiful thing. They've let in a Trojan horse. So if it makes you feel any better, just know that all these people who are bigoted across the line, they're gonna have nobody to blame but themselves when they look in the mirror. I'm talking about by the end of this year. I mean, just from the Strait of Hormuz being closed alone, forget the deadline we have for 4 weeks. We were already going to see stuff go up. They've already said it. Come next year, things are going to go up. That's why they're trying to end this war before the midterm, but then pick it back up after the midterm, because they do want a regime change in Iran. So the good news is, because our people have love, have empathy, generally have a sense of self, us being poor is not a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I pray is that most of us find gainful employment, even if it ain't the best paying job. I just don't want to see Black folks lose work, because when I look back at that graph, I'm like, wow, they were comfortable with us having high unemployment and our middle class being at zero. So that lets me know we're not playing around with people who want to share. That's why for me personally, I'm not a mean-spirited person. I would never do anything bigoted to harm anyone. I'm a loving person. You know what I'm saying? I just hope that more human beings practice the same thing, because I know when I wake up, that's not what I'm thinking about. And I'm 48 years old. If I'm lucky, God will give me another 30 years on this planet. I buried my mom in 2023 in June. The anniversary of her death just recently passed. Her birthday was May the 8th. So it was really hard for me a couple of months ago, just leading up to her birthday, because normally I would call on my mom for like spiritual guidance or whatever. So when Gigi was nice enough to allow me to get on stage and to be kind to me and maybe give me some kudos about being articulate or something, I just appreciate an opportunity to express myself, because honestly, normally I would talk to my mother, I would talk to certain friends that I used to have, but due to all the political division, due to just, human beings just being jealous and envious of each other, because you can fall into the envy trap where you're like, God, you're finally blessing me, but people in your life are jealous of the little bit that God is blessing you with, because they want to see they want to see someone else struggle, and they forget your struggle. They forget that you didn't get your house overnight or get your car overnight or get retired overnight. So you can end up being very alone. And the only reason why I've thought about writing a book under a pseudonym, because you guys are new to me, but I used to speak sometime on X, and people would even tell me, like, when I would tell my stories from the military or just what I told y'all about that little escort thing, I realized, like, I have some interesting stories that maybe A, I need to change names, or B, because it's not about promoting anything or promoting myself. I just think that when you don't talk about others and you talk about your own life experience, maybe you will encourage people to change and to be more authentic and to be more thoughtful of others. Because I like to call people out for being hypocrites. I've lived long enough. I don't have no trouble admitting when I'm wrong. There's some wrong I did in my previous marriage, but there was a lot of right. I've been good as a human being. I just, you know what I'm saying? I just like to call out human hypocrisy all across the board, because I think we all can do better and will be less judgmental. I think two things can be true. I think there's people who can be bigoted towards LGBTQ community. I think there's people who can use genderism as a weapon, right? And it's almost like Michael Jackson's accusers, right? Like, if something is as serious as assault on a child, not only would you want to be financially compensated, but I think somebody would be very angry, probably want to kick, MJ's behind. When money is the motive only, I look at that kind of side eye because that's what's wrong with capitalism. Capitalism brings the worst out of everyone. So whether you're black, you could be an opportunist. Whether you're a woman, you could be an opportunist. Whether you're Hispanic, you could be an opportunist. Whether you're a white supremacist, you could be an opportunist. And right now, with the trailer trash president we have, oh, they're being opportunist over there with that oil. And so for all these white supremacists that want to be bigoted against all, marginalized groups, don't worry. Karma, I'm telling you, karma's about to hit hard. I'm glad I'm aware of it so I don't panic anymore. Because for a minute, I literally had to go to a mental hospital. That's how stressed out I was. I was like, does Trump and them know what they're doing? For a minute, I thought they didn't know. But then I had to realize, no, this is exactly what they want to do because trillionaire Elon was already about to become a trillionaire, and all these other guys are billionaires. So they're hedged against whatever storm is going to come. So the people who are bigoted against you, the core middle class, those are going to be the ones that see price increase, that see foreclosures, that see job lays offs. And like, what does that have to do with identity politics at that point or them being upset about something? They're going to have to look in the mirror. So it'll be 2008 all over again if they're not careful. You know what I mean? They may want a black president. Who knows?
Casey, I also think you have to look at the white nationalists, the Christians. So as far as bigot goes, in my experience, bigot will always be here. And you say, how do you defeat them? I mean, there's several options. You can join them and they would never see you coming and you destroy the house inside out. Or you can stand outside and protest.
I meant more so how to defeat the bigotry amongst our own community. We don't talk about
as far as your own community, as far as Americans or blacks, which one community?
Black
There's so many.
Black people in general.
Oh, okay.
I just think that
I don't see any hope for that. I think
really?
they're slow to progress. No, I think older people have to die out.
Okay.
I think that people have to die. I think that new birth comes, new changes, just like any other thing in history. And human history, things have always changed. Words have always changed. Gay used to mean happy, right? Like over time, words, things change, die out with the people. So people are really stuck in their ways and their bigotry. With my experience, have I had people change in my life? Yeah, they've grown. But I don't expect it for everybody. So I know I guess Blue, he's very positive with it. My mind, I'm always on guard, so I'm more negative, and that's how I navigate.
I just think that what was his name? He was helping out Dr. Martin Luther King. He's the one who actually was responsible for organizing that march, and he was a homosexual. But
well, yeah, didn't Trump have a homosexual close friend? But he was against homosexuals. I heard that story.
Yeah, I guess people love to use gay people whenever it's convenient for them, and then toss them to the side.
I mean, of course. I mean, that's any other group they feel less than, that are less than them, they would do. But gay people have to stand up. Gay people need to be more a force to be reckoned with.
Well, I was just wanting to focus more because he was right when he said that there is a lot of bigotry, a lot of racism within the LGBT community. Anyways,
but where do they get it from? I got it from my black community. I got it from my black family. I was raised Christian. My father is Catholic, and he believes in the patriarchy to the bone. My mother is Christian, okay? So my patriarchy, me being homophobic and transphobic because I was raised that way. I was raised to hate myself. So that's where it comes from. It doesn't come from out the air. It doesn't come from just freaking off.
But none of the 10 Commandments said anything about gays. Neither does Jesus Christ.
Well, you don't have to say nothing about him, but I just told you where it comes from. I didn't say it came from a book.
I'm like Blue too. I don't. There's a deep something inside me that just doesn't like. Jesus hated hypocrites above everything, above murderers, usury. The number one people he had vitriol for were hypocrites.
Okay.
And
I mean, are you saying that to say that, these Christians are following Jesus' walk? Because they're not. They just use it as a label, just like how you may think a down low person use straightness as a label. It's a privilege. They really don't go by it. They
yes,
stay fornicating. They stay going to the altar every single day. Come on. Let's not kid yourself here. It's politics. That's why Trump uses religion people to do his bidding. Do you really think Trump is a Christian? Do you think he followed Jesus' laws? Do you think Elon Musk does? Come
right.
on.
Well, then I think we need if we set the culture, if Black Americans set the culture. I'm not a Black American. I'm a Black Canadian, but I can see the influence from up here. If you guys set the culture, then I think one thing that would be best to
Now
do
you
is to
want
find a
us
way
to
to.
set the culture?
No, you
How is
guys.
that possible? We can't even get our own shit together. Have you seen our neighborhoods? Shit.
You guys do
We
it by
can't come
default.
together. We're still unaliving each other.
Well,
We are we are broken.
yes, but there are a lot of voices out there that are actually trying to fix it. There's this
Yeah, but
podcast.
look how many black voices you saw that's going against Carmelo. Every time I go on my TikTok, it's filled with, black people going
That's because they're
against
the loudest.
Carmelo.
They're just the
You,
loudest.
no,
That I,
I disagree. When I talk to a lot of black men,
mhm.
and even black men, I even fucked around with or be. And like I said, I'm LGBT. They are Republicans. It's a lot of black male conservative Republicans.
I think they're doing that out of survival.
No, they're
They
not doing it out of survival. They want more
well,
power.
no, well, that's what I mean. Well, what they think is survival to them.
I mean,
A lot,
survival and power is two different things. Survival is okay, I may steal a bread because I'm hungry. But if I'm going to rob the whole store because I want more money,
well, they want to exist in that framework, right? They want to find a place for themselves. They want to find a place where they're not powerless,
they
where they're
want to
not.
dominate.
Yeah, and I think
They
that's
want
appealing to a few of them.
authority.
Like what's his name? The Supreme Court Justice. He wants to dominate. He wants to be one of the good ones. Clarence Thomas.
I mean, yeah, when you're a black conservative, you do get a lot of domination. I know for the algorithm, they're going to favor you because the algorithm favor conservative talking points.
So we have to
And
find a way.
when you look at the
Mhm.
black male conservative, how they talk with authority. I was raised that same way. I was raised
Yeah.
in Catholic and Lutheran schools, and they teach their males to be authority figure because, in the Bible, males are supposed to be leaders, authority, domination over everything, the
And
patriarchy.
that sounds appealing to some people, doesn't it?
Huh?
I think that sounds appealing to a few black men. Well, weak-minded black men who don't know love.
Well, love, what is love?
Love for yourself, love for your
What is that? What does it look like? What is that?
contentment.
Love is contentment.
Yeah, being sad, being just okay with what you got, being okay with how things are, being.
Well, damn, ain't nobody loving nobody because a lot of people ain't fine with what they got. They always complaining, they struggling, they want this, they want that.
Those are just
I think
anybody.
clearly everybody have their own definition of love. I mean, love is not universal how we defined it. So that's how I guess you define love.
I just think our humanity demands more of us. We can't just be me, my own, and my family, and that's it.
That's how you feel the conservatives are?
That's how I feel. Yeah,
I think the
Exactly.
conservatives is not just them and their family. They want to conform you. It's about you conforming to their ideology because it's best for yourself, it's best for Americans. So they're pushing it as American as a whole, as we're coming together. They want to get rid of the race, the black and white stuff. They want to get rid of the LGBT stuff, and we're just Americans. That is what they're pushing.
It's more than that. It's not. It's not. They don't think that it's the better way. They just want it. They want privilege. They want to be able to ban everyone else from doing that, from talking about it, but engage in it themselves. They want the privilege of it. They want the clout, the hierarchy, the I can do it because I'm better than you. You can't do it because you're lesser than me.
When it comes to the Democrats,
Both.
the
I think they
Democrats or who else? Who else is the both?
the Democrats and the Republicans. I think both parties have a very superiority complex problem that people have to retake both parties from.
Is that not just humans? I mean, do you think China has that same complex or issue, or Russia? I mean, everybody's trying to get to the top, right?
I don't think I don't
You
think
don't
so.
think Russia and China wants to dominate the world?
I don't think they want to. Not like the U.S. I think they just want to. Not like the
Oh, wow,
800
not like
military
the
bases
US,
across
really?
the globe.
But that's
those
why Republicans feels like, no disrespect, but
Mhm.
individuals like Democrats and certain people, possibly like you, they feel like if they left leadership in your hands, and I'm not a Republican, I don't think
They
I'm
would get
neither. I
swallowed
don't
up.
think I fit neither party. I really
Right.
don't, because my views and my beliefs, some
Typical
are
example.
Republican and some are not. Some are Democratic.
People are
But
on a spectrum, always
you
on a
said what?
spectrum. People are on a spectrum about their beliefs, always. It's a
Got
little
it.
bit more here, a little bit less here, depending on what the
Yeah, but
topic
some
is.
people are, one side and they stick to it. I'm just saying mine.
Verbally, I think personally they might, if it were to come to their doorstep, if it was their child, their family member, or them that had to really face it, they might bend more than likely. But as we were saying
Some
though about
will, some won't. It just depends. I mean, people will sacrifice their own kids.
yeah, well,
So,
so I mean, like what was it? A Republican woman. She was all about uh, what is that called when they're the anti-abortion, life first, pro-life. Yes, and then she had an abortion that she needed, and now she's all for it. It's just hypocrites.
is it really a hypocrite, or she just had a change of opinion or a change of belief? People change.
Yeah, but it's more like a rules for thee, not for me kind of change. They're ready. They're ready to die on their I'm sorry, pass away on their sword for keeping stuff from people and like policies, and then in the next breath, because it happens to them, boom! Now they've seen the light. I don't think it should have to come
Casey,
to
who are
that.
you talking about? Human beings in general or particular factions? What are you talking about?
More the Republicans that I've seen this phenomenon with, but in general, I don't think that that you should have to meet that particular adversity before you can find the
Well,
humanity in.
this is to me where the sleight of hand comes in. This is what I mean. We're all talking from the perspective of humanity, but then you have two types of people in this world. You have those who practice white supremacy, and then you have those who practice white supremacy and like some form of like neo-Nazi pseudoscience. So what I call them is neo-Nazi Christian fascists. They're accelerationists and they're extremists, and they just look at non-white people as like cannon fodder or like they don't even matter, right? And then to somebody said it earlier about the white replacement theory. That is a very big propaganda tool that they're pushing. Elon's pushing it. It's been a big thing on social media. When you just look at the raw data and facts, like I went to Europe earlier this year, I went to Denmark. I can honestly tell you right now, I don't think there's a shortage of white people. I don't see white people being threatened, even by immigrants. To be honest with you, I think there's a lot of people there that still have a high standard of living, and they have a great majority of the wealth. And when you look at it here in America, there's still white communities that are like 60, 70%. Maybe they want it to get back to maybe when it's closer to 80. I don't know. But it's not steeped in reality. But that fear and that paranoia of genetic annihilation has to do with the global awareness that they dealt when they were being colonial powers, because they could basically grape a woman of color, and then that baby would come out looking like Drake or Lionel Richie, and they got scared, like, wait a minute, so you mean to tell me I'm lily white, but I have relations with this woman, and the baby doesn't come out white? So then they started coming out with this whole concept that it took like 7 generations to wash white. They were trying to do that with Native Americans. And that's when they started coming up with all these other different terminologies with the Spanish, like mulattoes, mestizos, and, all of this quadroons and all of this madness. So they've always had an obsession with race and creed and color, but most human beings don't. And that's what I'm saying. Like with me, I thought we lived in a post-racial society because I was born in 1978. So by the time 1988 came around, I done seen Star Wars, I done seen Indiana Jones, I've seen The Dream Team, I've seen G.I. Joe, I've seen Star Trek. You know what I mean? My mother was not somebody who imprinted me with hatred. My dad could watch, Roger Moore on TV, or we could watch Archie Bunker or watch whatever. And my dad never used racial slurs, unlike our white counterparts that they'll admit, I grew up, hearing their father, be a drunken sailor like Austin Metcalf. Now, mind you, Austin Metcalf's father's probably around my age or older. So that means he grew up in the same reality that I grew up in. The only difference is they grew up in a predominantly white town, white area. So this whole idea, that's what I'm saying. It's a myth. It's a lie that somehow somebody is coming to threaten you or harm you. It's just a bunch of malarkey. But it works. It has worked. It's worked ever since the Roman Empire. The minute you fuse religion with race, you have a powerful cocktail, especially if you start making images of Christ, which was against the Bible. You're not supposed to make images of Christ or argue about genealogies, but that's the first thing they did. They start making idols. They learned that. They learned that from the Romans when it came to Caesar. Any country that they would conquer, like Syria, and they would make sure they built big statues of Caesar and make the people worship him. So you had a lot of people convert to Christianity under the sword and under indoctrination. But I would say I'll separate having a relationship with God versus religion. So religion is a tool. It's a weaponized tool that's used to indoctrinate people, kind of like software that you use on a computer or a phone. I've always said America has awesome hardware. It just needs to update its software. The software that it's running is white supremacy, but I understand why the software that they're using, that they're running is white supremacy, because they love the accounting. They love the product from the equation. They don't want to change the equation because then you'll have equality. If you get rid of racism and capitalism, you'd have equality. If you just got rid of racism and you took out crony capitalism, we started to reap the benefits. That's why people forget all the bigotry and don't understand that it's really just been since 1965 that America has tried to do right and has had an image overhaul. We had to force them, to get uncomfortable and for us to have our rights, right? And not only that, all these social safety nets that help people if they get unemployed, or you got to thank the Black Panthers for the hospitals to stabilize you. You have to thank the Black Panthers for babies, children to be fed when they go to school.
You have to thank the slaves too for even getting it down to 12 days work and 6 days a week. Everything started from Black people.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is think of it as a system. In terms of a system, the way things are right now, that's what I said. When they say make America great again, they're saying we want to roll back the New Deal, because this reality that I grew up in, that even my parents didn't enjoy, because my parents experienced segregation. Rest in peace, Mom. She technically, if you do the math, she experienced segregation as a little girl. You know what I'm saying? She grew up seeing into the tail end of it until she got into high school when they started integrating schools. So what I'm saying to you is, growing up in the 80s, I saw diversity. I didn't all this stuff about diversity is a enemy to mankind and this and that and the third. In other words, white folks did a really good job of doing an image overhaul. I think some people genuinely did want to do right, but a lot of the powerful people, they were too busy practicing globalism. So while they were promoting diversity here, see, they needed to make America look like the model for justice and equality, so they could sell the idea of capitalism to Japan, to Korea, to these other places. But then when they went to those other places, they acted like they did before the New Deal. Because if you notice, a lot of those countries don't have like the same social safety nets that we have. So when they deploy capitalism, it has catastrophic effects. Why do you think the guy from South Korea made that show, The Squid Game? It's really him doing a critique of capitalism and how it brings out the cutthroat mentality of everyone just to scrape and survive. And when you get done doing all that scraping and backstabbing, that $40 million or whatever he wins, it doesn't feel good. It has a little bit of an asterisk. The only type of person that would enjoy that, those type of winnings would be somebody who's a sociopath. So if you don't go into the game as a sociopath, you're going to come out as a sociopath. And when we think about it, a lot of the people who thrive and do well in these shark infested waters of capitalism, whether it's on Capitol Hill or it's in corporate America or probably even in Canada, it's like the higher you go up, the more chud they put in there for the waters for the sharks. And you just not only got to have to be able to swim, you have to be willing to be a little vicious. And that's what I'm saying. Like for me, I'm not a sociopath. Unfortunately, I have integrity. Unfortunately, there's so like, for instance, like I have my passport now and I've thought about leaving America because of what I know. But I also know that there's people who are dependent on me that I love. And God has also shown me that people don't have to look like me for me to love them or for them to love me. So I'm glad I've had all of those experiences. So those are the things that are preventing me from being bigoted. And that's why whenever I speak and I speak truth to power, can't nobody put me in a box. Because if someone says Robbie hates white women, there's some white women chuckling their ass off to this day. Like you can believe that one if you want to. If someone says I don't love black women, then they're just forget about it. That doesn't even make sense. My mother was a black woman. Again, I love women, period. You know what I mean? I have eyeballs. So, and that's what I'm saying. Any box that someone try to put me in, oh, you don't like the Democrats. Man, I was a card carrying Democrat for a long time. What do you mean? But I have a right to do an audit and critique. I'm a veteran, so I love America, but I have a right to have eyeballs and critique. And so what I'm saying is when you've had all these different life experiences, that's why whenever I speak to certain people, right, like my granddaughter is Mexican American, right, through a relationship that I was in and you know, being like a stepdad and all of that and there's a whole lot of things that so that's what I'm saying. The preacher in me, the minister in me, I don't care about putting my trouble out there because in spite of anything that I've dealt with, I dare not say God hasn't blessed me. But I also can look back at some things in my life and just use myself as an illustration, as a cautionary tale. You can have a perfect marriage. So you think in your mind and things can go into the toilet if you're not careful. You know, if you don't really do a good job of vetting somebody and understanding psychology and understanding that, you know, you can't love on somebody who has low self-esteem and insecurity. Right. Like loving is not going to fix it, in other words, but I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? So you live and you learn these things. Nobody's a bad person. No one's a terrible person. We all have different upbringings and imprinting. So when I say Happy Christmas, that means something different from you. Some people grow up in households where people don't say I love you. So I don't know what God's purpose is for me. I've dealt with situations twice in my life where I felt like I lost everything material, but gained a lot. I lost friends, you lose loved ones. I have no bitterness in my heart at this time. I truly love humanity. I don't regret any woman I ever dated, white, black, blue, green, purple, especially when I know someone loved me back, you know, authentic, you know, organically. But what I will say, unfortunately, is just because, like, for instance, just because my ex-wife was Mexican American and she loved me, that doesn't mean everybody in her family didn't practice anti-black racism. See, both of those things can be true because one, people learn prejudice from the colonial occupation, then they learn prejudice from the Western powers in America. And so what people want to do is be professional white ass kissers. People don't want to do the hard work of fighting the civil rights struggle or standing up to injustice. What people rather do is just say, I want to be classified as white. It's too much work. That's what,
Easier.
and then that's what, and see, black people don't have that luxury because, no pun intended. We can't go in the closet with our blackness. When we walk outside, we're black.
You
So
know,
that's why you see some of the most darkest skinned Negroes be the biggest coons, because they're like, they have to take on anti-black racism head on. So either they're going to be strong and proud of themselves, or they're going to be somebody that'll be the biggest buck dancing coon you've ever seen, hoping that if they present themselves as non-threatening, they'll be protected. I don't know,
which
that was long-winded. I'm sorry.
which proves that it's not just about skin color; it's about ideology too. I developed a term for being black. I call it an at first sight trigger, meaning at first sight, like love at first sight, you are automatically filled with ideas, presumptions, everything about somebody before you even know them. And I think that's a better way for us to describe what's happening to white people, well, to all people when they see and interact with us. That reservoir of images and references that they've consumed about black people, whether it be on TV or in person, that's what they're reaching into whenever they see a black person, and that's what's driving them in their interactions with us. One thing that I will before I sign off, there's a philosopher Schopenhauer. He described the world, the globe, as the largest prison, and I think that's kind of true in the sense where we're all trapped here, right? And in prisons, something happens to people. They get, like you said, with all that chum in the water, they become a little bit aggressive themselves because they have to survive. But also, they develop a sort of a type of empathy that's more radical than what we have on the outside, because they'll see somebody who's having a mental episode and not bother them because guess what? Just like you, they're just trying to get through the day. So I think that to replace the whole DEI thing, I think we need to practice something more like I call it air, breathing, fresh air, AIR, acceptance, inclusion, and respect. Because if you can accept that people have differences are around and they have a different walk than you do, include them, meaning not shying away from them being visible in society and including them in the decision making, and then just simple respect, I think that'll be able to solve a lot of disputes amongst the lower class down here. That way we can unite and actually take on what's really messing us all up, which is the upper class people who want to control our lives, really.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. I guess asking me not tough questions, but some real questions, because you seem to be an intellectual person that likes to get other people's feedback. I hope I answered some of your questions to the best of my ability. Happy Father's Day again to everybody that, either has a father in their life right now, or there's somebody in your, immediate circle that, is a male that has you know, that is a father. I say happy Father's Day because some people are widowers right now and they just have sons. I was literally dealing with that earlier. You'd be surprised how many people hit me up for advice sometimes, and I have to be prayed up to try to encourage others. I'm saying all that to say, I'll say this. In psychology, they talk about getting in touch with the inner child. And I'll use this metaphor when it comes to spirituality. You know how when you have a cell phone, right? When you first get it, it's not connected to a network. At best, you may be able to sign into Wi-Fi if you're lucky, right? But you don't have service, so it's not alive. It has an operating system, it has consciousness, but it doesn't have anything imprinted on there to be operating till it's connected to a network. So us as human beings, I think our goal is to be connected to a spiritual network. And for those of us that are connected to a spiritual network, we have service with the creator. We can talk to him. We can create, we can communicate. But most importantly, we get updates. We get our updates through life experience. We can look at everything in our life that we've experienced, both positive, negatives, and hopefully the positives outweigh the negatives. And we learn and we adapt and we think beyond just our limitations. I think it's very important for every human being to find their limitations of whatever it is, the limitations with your intelligence, the limitations with your skills, the limitations with your wealth, because at some point you're going to realize that you're not on this planet alone and there is a higher power. So once you're in tune with yourself and you're connected to the network, you'll always get updates. And when our brain, our mind gets overwhelmed, right? I feel like that network works like the cloud. You know, that's what happens. A lot of these people that we come across, they're not connected to network. So they're not awakened spiritually. They don't know who they are. So they have an operating system with a bunch of viruses. They have literally their brain is open like open Wi-Fi. You know how they say don't use public Wi-Fi. So they're sitting here getting all these apps. Some of them have bugs in them. Those are life experiences. Those are traumas. Those are people that you meet. So you have people who can just basically infect everything that you got going on. So now your operating system ain't working right. You're not connected to a network. And so all these photos and pictures and experiences that you have, it's like if you don't come to grips and have peace, you'll be overwhelmed. So now you just have a phone with no service that's just filled with viruses and photos and videos. And the only thing you can do, short of just reformatting everything, which the Bible says, be ye renewed, get a renewing of the mind. That's why I see like God and spirituality. Like when I get full, sometimes I have to take a spiritual hiatus, and it's like a form of catharsis to just be like, okay, I'm going to give this to you, God. This that didn't work out. If you can explain to me why, or one day help me understand emotionally and spiritually why that happened, I'll appreciate it. But you know what? I've reached my limitations, so I need to let this go. And I think when people try to play God, but don't know who they are, and they have every legitimate reason to be angry, because let's not act like the acts of sin don't happen to us in life. And that's what helped me deal with some of my trauma in the military, is when you can answer the question why, you can feel a little bit better. That's why I had to answer the question why they were doing what they were doing in Iran, or why white supremacists think the way they think. Seek and you shall find, right? So when you can get understanding of why somebody touched you when you were a little kid, or why you went through a divorce, or why you had to go through a foreclosure or a car repossession, you know what I mean? Or why your mama had to die, why your father had to die, why you had to have a child be miscarried, why Karmelo had to go to prison right now unjustly. Just all of these questions of why. That is the root sometimes of us not believing and not having faith, because we have every reason to say, I don't need somebody to preach to me about hell. I already feel like I'm going through hell. But the only difference thing is, how we're saying like with Karmelo, that he's being unfairly judged. We have the ability with freedom of choice. Sometimes we unfairly judge God. So vice versa, we'll have people frame God. White supremacists definitely don't represent the God that I know that my mama served, that our great grandmama served. It can't be the same God. We could look at the same book, or we can claim we're connected to the same network, but we ain't getting the same updates. How is it that you can get along with God, but you can't love people down here? And that is what I know changes people. Is not so much the words we say. My mama used to always quote Maya Angelou, and she said, people may not remember what you say, but they're going to remember how you make them feel. So I hope that whenever I get off of a live, I encourage people and I make people feel better, because that means they have a chance to get in touch with the God that I serve, that's still working on me. So, and that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be like air fresheners in a landfill. People can have a choice. We can't change the landfill. That's this earth. That's this world. Flesh and blood is not going to enter the kingdom of heaven. And the whole reason why I said what I said about hypocrisy is just to remind people, like Paul says, we all have a thorn in our flesh. Everybody's thorn is different. That thorn is to remind you that as long as you have human flesh and human life, everybody has a mistake. Everybody has an act of sin that they've done. Everybody has something that if they weren't covered by God, they'd be guilty of, or they carry that guilt. You know what I mean? Everybody has something that they can work on. And the whole reason of having that is like you overcome it, you manage it, is just so you don't judge others. So that's why I'm saying, like, when I wake up, I'm so thankful of everything God blessed me in spite of, that I dare not judge nobody. You know what I'm saying? I know what he's capable of doing. And I realize that it's less about preaching and more about living. And that's what I'm saying. That's what's going to sustain and get us through. We had to know God to get through 200 years of not having a middle class. Our middle class didn't reach 10% to 200 years, from 1750 to 1950. That's when our middle class finally got to 10%. And then it finally got to 30%, closer to like 1965. So that shows you that it ain't about material things or all the things that we're talking about that people argue about. In spite of all that, we've produced Michael Jackson. We've produced famous entertainers that, basically preached about love or sang about love, So I just think that at the end of the day, when you think about life in terms of just how special it is, the experience of life, and how quickly your life can end, once you have enough self-awareness to understand that tomorrow's not promised to you, I guarantee you'll have a lot less bigotry on your heart. And at the end, we all going to be judged as individuals. So these people who want to have their mind and their hard drive cluttered with all of this I really feel sorry for them, because they're not connected to the network. They're thinking that that's how life has to be. And I pray for any and everyone that's reliving a video gift loop. You know what I mean? Time is moving forward linearly, but you're still stuck, emotionally in a loop because of a divorce, or you're stuck because somebody broke your heart or let you down. We gotta kind of it's almost like being constipated. You know what I'm saying? You gotta push it on out. You gotta release yourself. It's not healthy for you. You'll become septic. If we hold on to toxins, we'll become septic. If you get a kidney stone and you get all backed up, instead of your kidneys functioning to clean your blood, it'll do the opposite. It'll contaminate your blood. Then you'll have septic bacteria go to all of your organ systems, and eventually you won't have oxygen reaching your organs so that you can function properly. So that's it in a nutshell. Is we want to have catharsis every day. God, please give us a clean mind and a clean heart. We're not perfect. And people can ridicule and judge you. Somebody can judge you about what happened to you. Somebody could judge you about your sexuality. Somebody could judge you about what's in your bank account. But as long as you know you, and you can look at your life and be like, God doesn't serve a lukewarm man or woman. You know what? Apples are produced from apple trees. If you're a fruitful person and you're being honest and you're being clever and in using ingenuity, then God is with you. It don't matter who else is not against you. And I'm preaching to myself right now, because there's some days I could feel alone and I could have a house full of people, or I could have people sing me praises online. Oh, Brother Blue, you speak great or whatever. But you know what? I could still look back at some things that maybe were painful in my life. And maybe I wish I had someone to speak to. But God will always send you who he needs to send to you, or he'll minister to your spirit. Or maybe in situations like this, when you talk, you're ministering to others. So I apologize if I'm a little long-winded at 4:34, but I don't know. I appreciate Gigi for allowing me to speak. How about that? And I'll land my plane. And God bless y'all.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Blue, and everybody that came in to talk. Thank you for the comments. Let's get the likes up. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thank you both.
Oh, bye, Casey. I forgot. Bye, Casey.
Bye-bye.
Shit, scared the fuck out of me.
Sorry,
Okay.
sometimes you gotta listen more than you speak,